Coming up right now on Weather Underground special live coverage as we track Fred. Tropical storm watches and warnings are posted for the Keys in southwest Florida as Fred batters parts of Cuba with heavy rain. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp, breaks down the future track and strength of this system. Plus, regardless of what Fred does intensity-wise, sea wind, flooding, rain, and strong winds are likely in Florida as the system moves close to the west coast through the weekend.
And we're also closely watching the threat for severe thunderstorms, including the highly populated mid-Atlantic and interior parts of the Northeast. The timing, who's at risk, that's all next on Weather Underground.
So glad you could stay with us here for Weather Underground. Welcome in. I'm Mike Bettis.
And I'm Jackie Jarris. Thanks so much for joining us on this Friday. I know it's Friday, but this weekend you got work to do. You got to prepare, you got to pay attention, and you got to be safe as well. So we just got the 5 o'clock advisories in, Mike, from the National Hurricane Center. And not only do we have an update on Fred, but we also now have a tropical depression.
That's right. We're going to break that down for you here in just a few minutes. First things first, though, let's get to Fred. That's the most pressing issue for us this evening. Tropical storm watches and warnings out there tonight. You're taking a look at places, say, like the Keys, of course. We've got issues here. Key Largo, Key West. The storm's going to be rolling in for us here. And it could indeed, Jackie, become a named storm sooner than later again.
Yeah, the name would be Grace, would be, I'm sorry, you're talking about Fred going up from a depression. Exactly. All right, let's update you on the watches and warnings, which have been posted too, by the way. These are still the same with the latest advisory. We've got a tropical storm warning that's up that includes the Florida Keys, including you in Key West and Key Largo, and that watch stretches along the southwest coast there, just north of Fort Myers. So the big question remains, how much stronger can Fred get? Let's get to our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp.
Yeah, Jackie, one part of the answer to that question is how much longer will the center be over Cuba, and when and where will the center reorganize and focus once it's over the Gulf of Mexico? A lot of questions with regard to that, and the models don't completely agree on it. And it has been moving pretty much due west since the last advisory. That has taken it farther inland over Cuba than the original forecast had it, just north of the coast. And so that is going to delay its ability to reorganize and re-strengthen, which it will eventually do. We're pretty sure about that. But this is going to complicate the track and intensity forecast over the next day or two. Now, none of that has yet changed the watches and warnings for the continental U.S. We do have tropical storm watches from the new depression out in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. We'll get to that in a little bit. So this isn't the only U.S. area under watches and warnings, but these have not yet been extended farther to the north. It's from the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte area southward is the watch. All the Keys under the warning. Be tomorrow night that things will really be noticeably going downhill, but even sooner than that in the warning area. Now, look at the track forecast, how that has shifted to the west. And a part of the reason for that is the more westward motion during the day today. So that when you change the initial position, you're going to change where it goes from there. And we have it getting up to 60 miles an hour right before coming ashore on the northeastern Gulf Coast. Now, there's not a guarantee of exactly where it's going to go, how strong it's going to be, but we still need to prepare for a strong tropical storm over the northeastern Gulf of Mexico and the whole state of Florida being on the wet and windy side of this. There is the low-level center going inland over Cuba as it goes straight west into central Cuba. And so it might not even be 35 miles an hour with the max winds. That might be a little bit high. And not till it comes off of Cuba will we start to maybe see winds getting closer to tropical storm force. We're gusting around 25 in southeastern Florida, but because of the disheveled structure of the system, it's not really producing a lot of wind right now. Now watch what happens in the models. Here's the Euro. The colors with the low-level spin show it coming off of Cuba and maybe reforming a little bit farther to the north and east as it goes over the Keys tomorrow, and then getting its act together pretty well over the northeastern Gulf Sunday and Monday as it comes ashore. But watch what happens in the GFS. You've got the low-level spin of where the center's over Cuba now, and watch how you get a little bit of a split. The low-level spin that's over Cuba now eventually goes away, and a new center forms to the northeast and then absorbs the old center. So there could be a lot of reformation of the center. That complicates the track forecast, but eventually the GFS has it getting its act together before going into the Florida Panhandle. So all of that said, we still need to get ready tonight for the tropical storm conditions, maybe starting in the Florida Keys and then moving northward from there, Mike. So Fred will get its act together eventually, but it's having trouble organizing at the moment.
We're going to keep an eye on it, no question. Dr. Knapp, thank you. We know that Miami Beach may not necessarily be in the cone, but the heavy rain could bring some flooding. Let's just look at last night, heavy rain there. Certainly enough to fill the streets here. This was before Fred, even got close, right? This could be a sign of things to come. Weather Channel meteorologist Felicia Combs live in Miami Beach spot. Very used to preparing for tropical weather here, Felicia, and this will be no different.
Yeah, absolutely no different. It's been kind of business as usual here in Miami Beach today. But I will say, we flew in last night, or I flew in last night. The crew was dealing with the weather that we had last night that you're showing some of that video of. And the way the streets flooded and the problems that just that, afternoon type of thunderstorms can cause here in Miami Beach is kind of a good indicator of what you could be dealing with when you're talking about a tropical system where the main threat here in Miami Beach is going to be that rainfall. Now, another threat that we're seeing here, you can kind of see as we look at the lifeguard tower, we've got the red flag flying, which means hazardous conditions. We've got a rip current statement going on because we've got strong onshore winds creating those rip currents, and then also the purple flag representing dangerous marine life. I talked to the lifeguard on duty who's been very busy, keeping people straight in the water, and he said jellyfish are the problem right now. And here is what is exacerbating the problem. It's a summer weekend on South Beach. Look at all of the people here. The crowds are filling the beach. There are people everywhere, as you would expect for early, late August in Miami Beach. So yeah, there are a lot of people here. I'd be willing to bet there are a lot of people in town who have never experienced tropical weather. And now here we are. There are no tropical specific warnings in place for Miami Beach, but we're going to watch those conditions deteriorate as we head through tomorrow. So starting tonight, the storm chances will pick up, but then especially tomorrow, midday, afternoon, even into the evening, we're stuck in those strong bands. We're talking about heavy rain coming down, and that can be a problem when you already have flooding issues just from your run-of-the-mill afternoon thunderstorms. We're running a bit above average in terms of rainfall so far this month here in Miami Beach. Just yesterday, we saw about an inch of rainfall, and that caused big problems. So Dr. Knapp, when we're talking about being outside of the cone, but still feeling the impacts with so much rain here in Miami, it's definitely going to cause some problems.
It definitely will. You don't have to be in the cone to receive the impacts. And the whole state of Florida, especially the peninsula, is going to be on the right-hand side. And that's the wet side. And so you can imagine anything going along generally that path is going to have onshore flow off the Atlantic and coming out of the Caribbean, and add the heating of the day especially, and you'll have some heavy rainfall. And also remember, to the right side, over land areas with tropical cyclones, you can have tornadic spin-up. So Torcon of 2 tomorrow in southern up to central Florida. That risk will spread northward later in the weekend. So overnight tonight, some peripheral locally heavy showers could cause some isolated flooding in the urban areas. But then watch all of this moisture. Don't necessarily discount the flood risk because this doesn't look all that well organized. There's still a lot of convection, and with the heating of the day included, Cuba has been getting some really heavy rain today. So that's kind of a preview of what can happen, even with a depression getting near the state of Florida. But the heaviest rain is over central Florida today, not because of the depression, but because of that upper level low that's overhead that's destabilized the atmosphere with the heating of the day. But that upper level low on the south side is shearing the system. So it's playing dual roles in affecting Florida and Fred. But as Fred moves around to the south and west of the peninsula, the center of it anyway, then the flood risk goes up tomorrow night into Sunday morning for the metro areas, even on the east coast of Florida. And then that risk goes farther to the north and even inland from there later on. So again, when you look at the European model, you can see how with the center out here, you still have a lot of onshore flow, a lot of moisture extending all the way across the Florida peninsula. So, Jackie, this will be a wet event for the Florida peninsula, even with the track shifting a little bit to the west.
Yes, and this is going to be a big rainmaker, too, for other parts of the deep south as this moves inland, Dr. Nev. So obviously not just a Florida problem here. Atlanta, Georgia, one of the places we're watching for the threat of some heavy rainfall in the future. It's beautiful today in Atlanta. It's certainly warm and a little bit humid, but big changes ahead with unsettled conditions coming Sunday and likely lasting into your Thursday. So here's what's coming on. We've kind of got the little squeeze play that's going to be taking place across parts of the south. We've got Fred, which is going to be moving northward through the Gulf. We've got a disturbance to the north, a cold front, which is going to be dipping southward. And all that moisture is going to get compressed and kind of squeezed up here across the Gulf Coast states and possibly even on up into the Tennessee River Valley. So there's going to be a lot of moisture to work with. The ground pretty saturated in most of these areas, as many cities here have a surplus of rainfall for the summer. It's been cool and wet for the most part in these spots. So it's not going to take as much as normal to cause some flash flooding. So flash flooding already will be possible here Sunday into Monday. This is Monday's forecast, and that's just when Fred could be making landfall potentially, perhaps into the panhandle of Florida. By Tuesday, it works its way inland. We'll see copious amounts of rainfall kind of getting squeezed out with this. And of course, the terrain into the southern Appalachians could really complicate that as well, with that extra lift to provide even more rainfall coming in out of the sky. That will continue into your Wednesday and likely into Thursday as well. Now, our models are not agreeing as to exactly where this is going to be going once it heads inland. So a big difference here in the Euro model showing the Appalachians maybe more of a concern. But take a look at the GFS. It says it's more of a problem over towards the coastal areas in the Carolinas. So we'll work out those details between now and then. But still a lot of rain, I think, either way we slice it into the Gulf Coast. All right, that's the latest on Fred. We've got another system to watch out for. And as we take a look, at this graphic, it shows you we have 87% of our tropical season still ahead of us. So let's go back to Dr. Nav. Dr. Nav, we now have tropical depression number 7 out there, and this one could become Grace. Somebody just sent me on social media, by the way. They said after Fred, we should have Ginger instead of Grace. Don't you think?
Well, this is unfortunately going to be going to some of the same places that just dealt with Fred in the northeastern Caribbean as it was forming right on top of you. Unfortunately, there's Fred. This one, about to become Grace, we think, before it gets to the Leeward Islands, is going to be more potent for the Northeast Caribbean than pre-Fred and Fred were, because it's developing sooner and farther to the east and will be stronger. So here it is, now a tropical depression, because you got that. You can see on the satellite, pretty good indication that it's got a close circulation, and the thunderstorm activity has become really concentrated near the center. This is a tropical wave in between Fred and TD7 that isn't bringing too bad of weather to the Lesser Antilles, so that's good. But there'll be a brief break, and then tomorrow night you'll start to feel the effects of what will probably be Tropical Storm Grace by that time. So certainly looks like a depression based on the satellite estimates, and it had a buoy nearby that showed the wind shift and indicated a close circulation, and the hurricane hunters will fly into this tomorrow before it gets to the island. So no longer potential tropical cyclone. It is a tropical cyclone, still numbered 7, moving west really fast, 22 miles an hour. So remember how Elsa was able to hold together and strengthen even though it was zipping along? Sometimes fast-moving tropical cyclones have a hard time maintaining their structure, but this is getting its act together, even though it's got that fast motion, because the upper level pattern is very conducive. Now, here's the other headline. It has become a tropical depression, and because of that fast motion, they had to extend those tropical storm watches farther to the west. So now it includes St. Martin and St. Bart's, the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. All of these areas now under a tropical storm watch, and I think the easternmost area is likely to go under a warning later tonight, because this fast motion is going to bring the center of circulation over the Leeward Islands very early on Sunday morning. So that's like right after midnight on Saturday night. And so you got tonight and tomorrow during the day to get ready for the tropical storm conditions. And let's not take this intensity forecast to the bank. Let's prepare for the possibility that it's a little bit stronger if it gets its act together over those warmer waters with the wind shear weakening. Could be a pretty potent tropical storm coming to the islands. And then the big question is, just like with Fred, how much land interaction with Hispaniola? How much wind shear after that? how strong could it be when it's on the doorstep of the United States in about a week? Mike, I would be getting used to the idea that this could be stronger than Fred when it gets close to the U.S. Next week.
We're going to keep a very close watch on it, Dr. Knabb. No, you'll be here the whole time, keeping people informed. And then we take you to D.C. right now. I-95 getting lit up with storms at this point, 96 degrees. And the storms are real close. And you can see it's gotten a lot cloudier than the last time we showed you this picture. And the storms are now about to roll in. There's going to be a threat as we go through the evening across the Northeast. There are widespread storms across the East, though, but generally the Northeast and down through the Mid-Atlantic, the area at risk. So Lexington to Syracuse, and then right here through Baltimore and D.C., we've got issues tonight as well. The warm, moist, humid air is just surging its way north. We've got a front that's going to sit right back in here and push its way east. And so kind of the two in combination. I'm simplifying it a bit here, but the two in combination are really doing a number on us here this evening. You can see the storms that are all flaring for us right now. Severe thunderstorm watches in effect. So these two right here across New York and then Pennsylvania down through Ohio and West Virginia. Both of those watches go till 11 o'clock tonight and then right in here until 8 o'clock. So that'll be on Harrisburg down toward the North Carolina state line. Storms north of Albany. Storms coming through Binghamton right now. Line of storms right here. Baltimore and southbound here. Baltimore under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. Hail and high winds with that one. That warning till 5:30 this evening. We're back after this.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
My heart failure diagnosis changed my priorities. I want time for the people I love. My heart doesn't pump enough blood, so my doctor gave me Farxiga. It helps my heart do its job better. Farxiga helps keep me living life and out of the hospital for heart failure.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. Symptoms of a serious allergic reaction include rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing. Stop taking and seek medical help right away. Tell your doctor right away if you have red color in urine, or pain while you urinate, or a genital area infection, since a rare but serious genital infection may be life-threatening. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems or are on dialysis. Other serious side effects include dehydration, sudden kidney problems, genital yeast and bacterial infections in women and men, urinary tract infections, and low blood sugar. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
More time with her? Sounds good to me.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Man, I slept.
We gave NuZequel Pure Z's restorative herbal sleep to people who were tired of being tired.
I've never slept like this before. I've never woken up like this before.
I feel like doing things and then doing other things after those things.
It's hard to explain. I'm just back.
What is even in this?
Clinically studied plant-based ingredients, passion flower, valerian root, and hops.
I feel really good.
NuZequel Pure Z's restorative herbal sleep.
My teeth were a mess. I had a lot of pain as far as my physical health. My body was telling me, you got to do something. And so I came to Clear Choice.
Your mouth is the gateway to your body. Joe's treatment plan was replacing the teeth with dental implants from Clear Choice.
Clear Choice has changed my life for the better. It's given me my health back. There's an amazing life out there if you do something for your health now.
At Napa, we keep things moving. If it has wheels and an engine, we help keep it on the road. And if it's on the road, we have parts for it. And if you need a part, you can get it fast. At Napa, when we're not thinking about cars, we're thinking about the people who drive them. Because when it comes to serving you and our community, our motor never quits.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Hi. The summer closeout sale ends soon at Ashley Home Store. Dining starting at $100 and beds for under $300. Get outdoor furniture up to 40% off or 72 months no interest. Sale ends Monday. Ashley Home Store. This is home. The summer mattress closeout sale ends soon at Ashley Home Store. Pay 0% interest for 60 months on select Tempur-Pedic and Beautyrest Black mattresses starting at just $29 a month. The summer closeout sale ends Monday. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Feet hurt a clock. When you simply stop. But not Rose. She has customized support from Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotics. Get Rose's secret weapon in-store or online and get your feet on.
Michael bought a bed without talking to a Mattress Firm sleep expert. He can't sleep. Now he's thinking he's forgetting something.
Dad?
For real sleep, go to Mattress Firm and unjunk your sleep.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 95 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, some clouds. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 78. Saturday, scattered showers or thunderstorms. High 88. Chance of rain 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy. Low 69. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Evacuate immediately.
Thanks for being with us here on Weather Underground. We take a look at Naples and the pier there, 87 degrees. You can see the stormy weather off in the distance there. And the normal turquoise water isn't so turquoise right now. But a few more people out on the pier than earlier when there was a really threatening storm out there. By the way, they've got a couple of weather stations out on that pier. If you didn't know, they got 2 of them out there that keep very close tabs on the weather. And we need to be, because over the course of the next maybe 24 to 36 hours could get a little rough for us in a place like Southwest Florida, as we have Tropical Depression Fred that's moving past Cuba right now and expected to come back out into the Gulf of Mexico. Winds are at 35 miles per hour. You can see all kinds of storms over Cuba right now, but westerly movement at 12 is likely to turn to the north here over time, and then through the weekend produce some gusty winds and certainly produce some rain for us here through Florida. But if you notice now, almost all the peninsula here in Florida is out of the cone at this point. Again, anticipating some strengthening all the way through a potential landfall in the northern Gulf Coast here through the weekend or early next week. But notice here, tropical storm watch is still in effect. That will include up through Fort Myers, tropical storm warnings through the middle and lower Keys, Jackie. So just watching this one here short term for those places, and then longer term down the road.
Right, and just because you're not in the cone doesn't mean you won't have impacts. Correct. For sure. All right. Well, a changing planet can threaten our basic needs. Our mission with our Pattern Climate Unit is to explore, inform, and elevate people around the globe who are doing their part to save and protect the planet. This week on the Weather Channel and Pattern, we present Building Solutions. Now, this series looks at how Americans are finding innovative ways to move us into the future. There are more than 4 million miles of roadway in the United States. Did you know that? It's a ton. Our chief environmental correspondent, Dave Malkoff, met up with companies turning asphalt into a power source and a way to combat rising urban heat islands across the country.
Right now, most of the power in the United States comes from burning fossil fuels, but this highway could also create electricity. You see, the power is already here, burned into the hot blacktop, and cities are just starting down the long road of extracting that power.
We're near downtown LA. We got downtown LA in the background there.
The easiest way to save power is to keep the streets and surrounding cities from getting hot in the first place.
In cities around the world, there's a high concentration of asphalt and other materials that absorb heat.
Davis Coley has met us in Los Angeles, and he's talking about what's called an urban heat island. Hot blacktop cities sweltering people all summer long. Davis's company GuardTop has come up with an alternative. Lighter colored blacktop that reflects the sun's radiation. I've actually noticed that you can feel the difference in the temperature as you go from the white top to the blacktop.
Yeah, so we're reflecting about 35 to 40% of the UV rays of the sun.
This isn't just white paint that would peel off. It's actually embedded into the pavement, and it's almost 10 degrees cooler than the darker surface.
Heat equity is a big part of the discussion too, and a lot of the cities are looking at, neighborhoods that are more susceptible to heat.
You see, if cities make the roads cooler and neighborhoods shadier, people don't have to crank the AC. One of the kind of wild ideas is this solar panel that's embedded into the road. This could be the future of highway infrastructure and power infrastructure. Weather, no problem. Cars riding over it all the time, no problem.
I'm Brian Johnson. I am the city manager here at Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Brian runs the Curiosity Lab in Metro Atlanta, where companies can try out emerging technologies like the solar road that is powering a charging station on a mostly public part of a city street.
This city or any city could end up taking existing roadway, put in solar panels, and generate electricity to power all sorts of stuff.
This road is version 2.0 from a French company called Wattway, not to be confused with a Chinese company with a similar sounding name. They installed their first solar roadway in northwestern France about 5 years ago, and it was slammed in the French press for its lack of durability and lack of power output.
It may not be tomorrow where it's ready for that use, but it's certainly being tested in a real world on a real city street right now.
Here in much sunnier North Georgia, the second version seems to be holding up. But this is just one technology they're testing here. Very soon, your most connected device won't be your phone anymore. It'll be your car.
Every single street light can talk to each other, can talk to the traffic signal, can talk to pedestrian crossing, can talk to the vehicles. That is a lot of data.
So the roadway of the future could be a city cooler, a power plant, and a true information superhighway. The dream of the 90s is alive in Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Wow, pretty cool stuff there. Well, still to come on Weather Underground, much more on Fred.
Helen knew exercise could help her diabetes, but she didn't know what was right for her. No. Nope. No way. But then Helen went from no to no. With Freestyle Libre 14-Day, now she knows what activity helps lower her glucose and can see what works best for her. Take the mystery out of your glucose levels and lower your A1C. Now you know. Freestyle Libre 14-Day, now covered by Medicare for those who qualify.
I'm Sue and I have type 1 diabetes. I depend on Medicare to get my medicines. It's not always easy, but I make it work. Now some in Congress want to make things even harder. They want to repeal a protection in Medicare that protects access to my medicines. They call it negotiation, but it really means the government decides what medicines I can get. That would make it harder for people on Medicare to get the medicines we need. Medicare means access. Please don't take that away.
Paid for by Pharma.
Get ready to take on summer with new iced drinks at Dunkin', like a full-bodied and smooth Sunrise Batch coffee, a refreshing lemonade with strawberry-flavored popping bubbles, or a smoked vanilla cold brew with sweet cold foam. Make the most of your summer days with iced drinks at Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'.
So then I said to him, you ought to customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so you only pay for what you need. Hot dog or chicken? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. It's my birthday. No, it's not. But I still look good, though. How come? Ow. I bet you want an autograph. You and your friends.
With lower prices and great deals, make Target your first stop back to school.
You have the best pizza in town and the worst wait times.
Table 4 up.
You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Let's go, Peloton! Welcome to your 30-minute full body strength. Yes, you can, Peloton. Come on. Nice work, Lisa in Denver. Keep it up. Way to show up, Peloton. Amazing work. You absolutely crushed it.
At Loan Depot, we know home means everything. As America's lender and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball, we fund more than 30,000 home loans each month, saving you money and providing mortgage solutions that are personalized, convenient, and fast, and tailored to the most important home team of all, yours. Give us a call at 844-751-LOAN or visit us online today. Loan Depot, home purchase, home refinance, and the official mortgage provider of Major League Baseball.
This is J Country. Our goal is to find that $1 million boulder. I will dig till my hands bleed.
That's so sketchy, dude.
Anything can shut you down.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
All right, check it out. Lightning and thunder with this storm today in Fort Myers, Florida. There are a lot of wind gusts recorded around 40 miles per hour with this. Now, it's not associated with Tropical Depression Fred, but certainly showing you some of the soaking rains and a lot more of that with Fred on the arrival soon. All right, well, welcome back to Weather Underground, everybody. Glad you could be with us here for tonight. I'm meteorologist Jackie Jarris, along with meteorologist Mike Bettis. And Mike, just in the last half an hour, we got some new changes with Fred.
Yes, one of the more interesting things is what happened with the cone, right? Mm-hmm. Shifting even a little bit farther west now, taking basically the peninsula of Florida out of the equation, at least where the track is.
Right, but the impact's certainly still all up and down the peninsula, we think. So let's get you the latest nuts and bolts. If you're just getting off of work, you may not know Fred's still a tropical depression working its way across Cuba at this time. So maximum winds around 35 miles per hour. Here's a look at that cone that Mike was just talking about. You can see it has shifted westward, or a little left, as we call it. And this gives it a little bit more time to be over the Gulf, which could allow it to be a little stronger at a landfall into maybe the Florida Panhandle, perhaps farther west of there. Well, Miami Beach, you're one of the places actually not in the cone, but heavy rain still a strong possibility here. Our Weather Channel meteorologist Felicia Combs is live at Miami Beach right now, a spot very used to preparing for tropical weather. Hey, Felicia.
Hey, Jackie. Yeah, you know, people who have spent any time in South Florida, really in any of Florida, they know how to prepare for these systems. You know, there's a joke you might hear when you're talking about Florida. Tropical storm means it's just going to rain. But, you know, no joking matter, because we are going to get this heavy rain even though we're outside of the cone. And another issue is, you may see behind me here, look at how packed this beach is. It is a summertime weekend in Miami, and that means not only do you have the natives here, but you have people here who maybe have never dealt with a tropical system, and we are going to see that peaking during Saturday. That's part of the problem. We're really going to see that weather deteriorate starting overnight tonight, and then moving through the day on Saturday. We'll start to see that rain moving in, the waves of rain, especially Sunday morning. And when you have people who don't realize maybe how quickly the streets can flood here in Miami Beach, you start to run into some problems. The other problem is, of course, we are looking out over the beautiful Atlantic. If you've never been to the beach in South Florida, I highly recommend it. I'm a little biased, but Miami is beautiful. Rip current statement in place for today because we've got a steady onshore wind, but here's part of the problem. high tide tomorrow around 2:30 in the afternoon. And right at that time, that's when we're going to have some of the gustiest onshore winds. So you couple a high tide with those stronger winds, and you could certainly run into some of those coastal flooding issues in the more flood-prone places. Now, here on South Beach, there's quite a bit of sand, so we really would need quite a storm to see issues there. But, you know, Dr. Knabb, there are other places around Miami that flood very easily just from your typical high tide, king tides, or from an afternoon thunderstorm. So I do think whether it's coastal flooding or rainfall flooding, that's going to be the biggest problem in Miami.
Yeah, you don't have to have a direct hit from a tropical storm to have a lot of water problems, especially on that right-hand side that will be the wetter side and the onshore flow side as well. Now, let's go from Fred eastward to the central tropical Atlantic, where we have our new tropical depression, number 7. It is moving really fast. Here's another tropical wave going north of the Leeward Islands, but this has really gotten its act together. So this is getting organized and getting stronger farther east and sooner than pre-Fred did. Got a closed circulation now, concentrated thunderstorms near the center. So that's why the Hurricane Center declared this a tropical depression. At 5 p.m., max winds 35 miles an hour, moving west at 22 miles an hour. So that really fast motion means it's not giving us much of a grace period, is it? Before it becomes Tropical Storm Grace, already have to have the tropical storm watches up for the Leeward Islands here from Montserrat northwestward. And now it includes the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. So we got to get ready for those tropical storm conditions. And this will be a more potent hit than Fred dealt to the northeastern Caribbean. Late tomorrow night is when the tropical storm conditions could arrive. We could have a 45 to 50 mile an hour tropical storm. I hope it doesn't get stronger than that. Can't rule that out. And then how much interaction with Hispaniola? That is a big, big question. It'll be moving over warmer waters from this point forward. But how much land interaction? Will it go over Hispaniola like Fred, or will it miss Hispaniola? And how much wind shear in the atmosphere will it be after that point? Jackie, Mike, those are the big questions that the models are sorting through, but we could have something on our doorstep again next week.
A very, very similar track as Fred's. Dr. Knabb, thank you. Still to come, not just the Pacific Northwest dealing with heat, but the Northeast as well. We're going to show you where temperatures have prompted excessive heat warnings.
Yo, I need me some of these, bro.
Trends come and go. Nacho cheese is forever.
Yeah.
Doritos, another level.
Honey latte.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, it's Hack Me.
Are you serious?
So I gave your birth date for free parking.
That's how I got this robe. No one really tries to be unsafe.
Mom, what's your 401k number?
But every time you give up info and privacy, you give up a little safety too.
Is it normal to ask for your social when you buy socks?
Norton 360 with LifeLock helps protect your devices, online privacy, and identity all in one. Opt into cyber safety at norton.com.
Oh, there you are. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churned and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? Coffee Mate truly is man's best friend. I didn't mean like you.
Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
Riders. Wanderers on the road of life. The journey is why they ride. When the road is all you need, there is no destination.
I'm actually just going to get a nice coffee.
Well, she may have a destination this one time, but usually...
I usually have a destination.
Yeah, but most of the time her destination is...
Nope, just the coffee shop.
No matter why you ride, Progressive has you covered with protection starting at $79 a year.
Because she's a biker.
Please don't follow me in.
The rule in business used to be location, location, location. Now it's network, network, network. So you need a network that's built right. Verizon Business Unlimited starts with America's most reliable network. Then we have the speed of Verizon 5G. We provide security that's made for business and offer plans as low as $30 per line. More businesses choose Verizon than any other network. Built right for business. We are open and ready for you.
if you have a typical airline credit card, you're not getting double miles on every purchase.
You're right. I only get extra miles on some types of purchases.
May I?
Please.
With the Capital One Venture Card, you earn unlimited double miles everywhere. Yes.
Everywhere is great, but where can we use them?
You can use them on any travel purchase, not just some travel purchases.
Venture gets a gold star.
What's in your wallet? These used cars look the same, but how can you tell which one's the better deal?
Bringing Dad from Sarasota? Hey, Dad.
This one's broken.
Dads are great, but let's say, show me the Carfax value. You'll get the most accurate price based on the vehicle's accident history. Look for me and stop overpaying. Shop at the all-new Carfax.com.
Allergies with nasal congestion overwhelming you? Breathe more freely with powerful Claritin D. Claritin D improves nasal airflow 2 times more than the leading allergy spray at hour 1. Claritin D. Get more airflow.
The Weather Channel and its climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
A changing planet can threaten even our most basic needs.
It's a largely invisible crisis.
This is a really serious challenge.
But from these challenges comes hope.
The good news is it is possible to solve it during our lifetimes. We have the resources, the technology, the capacity to solve this issue.
And Americans finding innovative new ways to move forward.
There's definitely an ownership. We own this community. You can be the agent of change.
Now, meet the amazing people taking on our planet's most important issues and building solutions. All week on the Weather Channel and Pattern.
Saying good evening to you in Philadelphia right now, where for the third consecutive hour, you're at 95 degrees. It feels like 100. You're under an excessive heat warning. Hang in there, Philadelphia, because I don't think we're going to go day 4, okay? It looks like we're going to get a little bit cooler tomorrow as storms start to roll in, and then into Sunday, drier, much cooler air is going to work its way in, and we'll say goodbye to this heat wave. But in the meantime, it's rough. You know, mid-90s on the thermometer, feeling like triple digits in many of these areas, and it's not just there in Philly. It's a lot of the Northeast. It's a lot of the Mid-Atlantic and stretching down through the Deep South. Washington, D.C., you just got cooled down thanks to a thunderstorm that went through. But Dulles, you hit 99 degrees today. That was your third consecutive day, tying or breaking a record. So just incredible. As we head into tomorrow, still a lot of 90s can be expected, but those are likely going to be peaking out maybe around 1, 2 o'clock, as I think as we head towards the evening hours, that front's already going to be through, and you'll start to watch for better conditions. How about highs in the 70s and 80s across the region? Mike, we'd like a break in the heat in the west, too.
Wouldn't we, though, Jackie? I mean, intense heat. You're taking a look at Seattle right now. Temperatures in the 80s for us, and it's going to stay incredibly hot across the Pacific Northwest. It's been so hot this week that even in Oregon, the governor there declared a state of emergency because of the heat. And the heat is typically every single year the single biggest cause of weather-related fatalities in the United States, believe it or not. And we've unfortunately had quite a few people unfortunately die this year because of heat. So do everything you can to battle these numbers. 92 in Shelton right now. I look at a place like Snoqualmie Pass even. It's 85 degrees there right now. Just absolutely incredible stuff. You widen that picture out a little bit more and you just see that the dome of high pressure is affecting us. 97 in Medford, 91 in Portland, 94 degrees for us right now in Boise. Now tomorrow, triple digits should be pretty common in a lot of places. Yakima, we'll do 105. Spokane over in far eastern Washington, we'll do 100. Salem, we'll do 100. Grand Junction, Colorado, we'll do 90s. Yakima back to the triple digits come Sunday. Reno, we'll do 101, 112 in Redding, 102 in Glasgow, Montana. Then you take a look at this, and this is unfortunately kind of the tragic result of heat. It doesn't always have to be extreme heat, but just hot enough, right? Unfortunately, 14 children have lost their lives in hot cars so far this year. The hottest outside temperature during one of those instances, 105. And the coldest, for a lot of us, it feels very comfortable, at 70 degrees. But it shows you, even though it's a comfortable air temperature inside the vehicle, it can be unsurvivable. Now, more than 50% of the time, a child is left by a caregiver in their car, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, babysitter, someone like that, that unintentionally leaves their child in the car. Sometimes they're off their routine or they just forget. 26% of the time, it's a child actually going and playing in an unattended car. And that was the circumstance this week in some of the children's deaths that we saw this week. So the best thing you can do is always make sure everyone's out of the vehicle when you exit, and then lock the vehicle immediately afterwards so no one can get in. The curious kids who may like to play in the car can't get in there and mess around. I mean, when my kid was little, we taught our kid to honk the horn if you couldn't get out of the vehicle, and so we could be alerted and get out there and get them. Take a look at the scorching car scale for a place like tomorrow in Boston. It's going to be hot, 92 degrees. After 10 minutes, it'll be 111 inside that car, and after just half an hour, Jackie, 126 degrees inside a vehicle in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
That just really proves to you how hot it can get.
So fast, too. Great tips there, Mike. Well, earlier this week, wildlife biologists found this little guy clinging to a tree in the smoky remains of the Antelope Creek fire. The orphan cub was taken in and checked for injuries, which did include second and third degree burns to his paws and to his nose. But get this. The date the little cub was discovered is the exact same date that the U.S. Fire Service kicked off their Smokey the Bear campaign back in 1944. And the real-life Smokey the Bear was also an orphan cub that was found clinging to the top of a charred tree. That's pretty cool that all kind of came together on the same day. Glad that little guy's going to be okay. Of course, the wildfire is a huge problem and concern across the West, and it's not getting any better anytime soon. When we look at California alone, at the number of acres burned this year compared to last year, it's about triple the number of acres burned. So there's a lot of large fires that are out there. The number of total fires, however, is a little bit closer together. So we're getting these big complexes of fires like the Dixie Fire that we were talking about, like the Bootleg Fire, which continues to burn. May not be until November before some of these fires are actually completely extinguished. Now, we've got a lot of large wildfires that are still burning across parts of the West. This year, we've had a monsoon season, so that's really been helping the Four Corners region, but not so much out towards the West Coast. We still have a lot of alerts for the fire danger. We need to get this heat down a little bit, and we could use a lot more rain.
Someday, we'll find the right trip.
Seize your Sunday today with Travelocity.
Get the right information so you can book confidently.
Travelocity. Seize your Sunday.
Oh, hello. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churned and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? How do I know so much about Coffee Mate? I've had a cup or 200.
Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
Band practice, soccer, whatever that is, Nathan is working on. Nobody has time to cook, but the big dinner box from Pizza Hut is the answer. 2 pizzas, wings, breadsticks. It's the easy way to feed the whole family in one box.
No one out Pizza Hut.
Welcome back to the DIFY show, the show where others do it for you. Today we're going to DIFY a broken sewer line.
The first step is to have HomeServe in place.
HomeServe will do it for you with home repair plans starting at just $7.99 a month.
The next step, we're going to roll these bocce balls towards that smaller ball.
Oh, good roll.
Did you feel that? That must have felt great.
And that's how you DIFY a broken sewer line. That's our show today.
Let HomeServe do it for you with plans starting at just $7.99 a month. Go to homeserve.com or call now.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
My heart failure diagnosis changed my priorities. I want time for the people I love. My heart doesn't pump enough blood. So my doctor gave me Farxiga. It helps my heart do its job better. Farxiga helps keep me living life and out of the hospital for heart failure.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. Symptoms of a serious allergic reaction include rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing. Stop taking and seek medical help right away. Tell your doctor right away if you have red color in urine, or pain while you urinate, or a genital area infection, since a rare but serious genital infection may be life-threatening. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems or are on dialysis. Other serious side effects include dehydration, sudden kidney problems, genital yeast and bacterial infections in women and men, urinary tract infections, and low blood sugar. Stop taking Farxiga Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
Work time with her? Sounds good to me.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
At Spectrum Business, we're so sure we offer the best value for business, we called our competitors to see if they could beat our 200 megabit internet and phone with no added phone taxes, no fees, and no contracts.
Thanks for calling.
These are their actual responses.
I would 100% go with Spectrum.
It really doesn't make too much sense to go with us.
Hear that? Spectrum Business is hard to beat. With 200 megabit internet and advanced phone for $69.98 per month, all with no added phone taxes and fees.
How are they pulling a no fees and taxes? That's madness.
If you guys want to avoid being under a contract, Spectrum's really the way to go.
I'm going to be very honest with you. You're probably going to need to go with them.
Honestly, we couldn't say it better. Get 200 megabit internet and advanced phone for $69.98 per month with over 99.9% network reliability. Call 833-919-2113. That's 833-919-2113.
Oh my God! Evacuate immediately!
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 94 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, some clouds. A stray shower or thunderstorm is possible. Low 78. Saturday, scattered showers or thunderstorms. High 88. Chance of rain 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy. Low 69. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
It probably comes as no surprise that a meteorologist has a rain gauge, right? I have one right here in my front yard. In the last 24 hours, I picked up about ½ an inch of rain or so. Now, it was 2 days ago, I picked up a ½ inch of rain, and 2 days before that, I picked up another ½ inch of rain. And that's important. 1 inch of rain is exactly what my yard needs weekly. And that is actually going to save me water, believe it or not. Typically during the hot summer months, I would run my sprinkler system 3 days a week, maybe 15, 20 minutes a piece. But because I've had a good amount of rain, I'm actually just going to turn my sprinkler system completely off. You know how much water you save by turning off your sprinkler? I will admit, Nab, I picked that tip up from you last week, so it might serve me well this week.
Well, I have not turned my system completely off, but the smart controller has noticed the rain, and it hasn't run it this week because of that.
Yeah.
That's nice. I don't think I've watered mine in 2 weeks either. We've had a lot of rain here across the southeast. I worked hard on laundry this week to try and reduce the number of loads that I do and combine it with the rest of my family. I think that helped me out. I also do a lot of fine washables. So instead of doing those by hand, it's more efficient to do it into the washer. So I use delicate cycles.
You know, Mike and Jackie, I start to have this vision that whoever wins this competition, at the end of it, after they win, they're going to have a lot of laundry to do. They're going to have a half-dead lawn, and they're going to be aching for a cheeseburger.
Yeah, right?
And we're going to need a shower, too, probably.
Don't forget that, right? The bracket, by the way, and Nab and I are against each other this week. Jackie, you are versus Chris Warren this week, but it's down to the Elite Eight, and then we're going to narrow it down to the Final Four. So the results will be this weekend. We'll have the results again on Monday as well, but it's a shame that anybody has to lose, but if it has to be somebody, it has to be Dr. Nab, right?
If you say so. I'm not getting in on that one.
We will see
maybe,
who defeats who.
Maybe, Nab, you did it right. You're pacing yourself. Or I feel like I went all in on week one, so I'm not sure if I'm going to have that much to lose this week.
We have to up our game.
Also, how much do you want to advance? Because you get to the Final Four or the finals, you're really going to have to be lessening your usage to win.
Yes, I'm up against Chris. I know that both of us have been kind of, smack talking a little bit
But
this week.
pacing yourselves, though.
We're trying to pace ourselves a little bit. I did notice, when you fill out the water calculator at the bottom, it shows you the areas where you could use the greatest improvement or where you can make the most progress. And Dr. Nab, I know this week that you cut out some meat from yours, and that's one of the areas I know I can make a lot of progress. So that's what I'm planning on doing to help improve next week.
But I am finding, too, when I go through the calculator each week, all the little stuff that I did really does add up. So it doesn't have to be one or two big things.
Definitely.
All right, we got another tip for you, by the way. Did you know that gasoline is an indirect use of water? Driving less uses less gas and then in turn saves water because it takes nearly a gallon of water to extract, refine, and transport the gas that takes you to drive just 1 mile. So that's a lot. So if you can, combine your trips a little bit or, if you've got an electric vehicle, that'd be good too.
If you could bike to work, that would be amazing.
Ooh, do it.
In August in Atlanta,
But then you got to shower again.
Then I come here and take a shower. Right, you're right, exactly. All right, Dr. Nab, let's talk tropics now. Fred, on our doorstep here. How do you feel this plays out over the weekend?
I think it is going to re-strengthen over the Gulf of Mexico eventually this weekend. It's just going to take a little while tonight and tomorrow to reorganize because it's still centered over Cuba. And it's still got a bit of wind shear that it's contending with. And that westward motion today of the low-level center that has gone left of track compared to the previous advisory is keeping it over land longer and has caused the track to shift to the west. And we could have all kinds of reorganization, reforming of the center. So I think there's a little bit greater than usual a chance that the center goes outside the cone. So don't take this to the bank. And also don't tune out on the Florida Peninsula because even though we're going to have a strong strengthening tropical storm centered west of the Florida Peninsula, you're going to be on the wet side of it. Flooding rains, isolated tornadoes, all a possibility. So there goes the low-level center over Cuba. And, we've had some gusty winds, occasional showers on the Florida Peninsula, but all the heavy rainfall has been in Cuba today. So that's kind of a preview with what even a depression combined with the heating of the day over Florida during the weekend could produce a lot of heavy rain and flooding. But here's what happens in the models. The Euro brings it off of Cuba, reforms it back to the north and east, and then strengthens it quite a bit as it goes into the Panhandle on Monday, whereas the GFS has the low-level centers kind of split, and the one that's over Cuba now goes away, and then a new one forms to the northeast outside of that cone. So, Mike, a lot could change over the weekend, and Jackie, I'm concerned mostly about water, even outside the cone.
All right, Dr. Nab, coming up next on Weather Underground, our special live coverage tracking Fred continues, plus the latest on severe weather threatening parts of the east.
Kleenex Ultra Soft Tissues. 3 layers strong for sneezes, smudges, and everything in between. Kleenex for all the moments. A portion of every purchase is donated to students in need.
You want to make pizza night with the family even better? Bam! Get yourself the new Parmesan crusted papadilla. It's like a golden, crispy little fireworks show in your mouth. Get a new Parmesan crusted papadilla for only $7. Papa John's.
I'm not ready to lose my hair. Not now. But I never thought there was a real solution. Now I use Keeps, the easiest way to keep my hair. And I can get my treatment without leaving the couch. Go to Keeps.com to learn more.
Think premium can't be capable? Think again. Introducing the first ever AT4 lineup. Premium and capable. That's professional grade from GMC.
This month, protect your ride with great oil deals at Napa. Get a jug of Napa Full Synthetic for $18.99. Or get $10 back when you buy a jug of Mobil 1 for $27.99. When it comes to finding you great deals, our motor never quits.
I wanna see you stand. I wanna feel you beat proud. I wanna hear you beat it hard. Live out loud. You can do it all. Stand up now. If you be proud, you can get it. Stand up now. Live out loud.
It's my birthday. No, it's not. But I still look good though. How come? Ow. I bet you want an autograph. You and your friends. That's why I keep my pen. What you can't dance, they ain't got rhythm. Put your phone down, let's get it. Forget your Instagram and your Twitter. Got me like, whoa, wait a minute.
With lower prices and great deals, make Target your first stop back to school.
Thrive Cosmetics Brilliant Eye Brightener is your Of Course I Got 9 Hours of Sleep secret. Available in a variety of shades. Use it as an eyeliner, eyeshadow, or below your brow for an instant eye lift. No wonder it's sold every 3 seconds. Join our movement today at thrivecosmetics.com.
Introducing Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. It's made with real fruit juice and is USDA certified organic. It's a cut above. New Mango Apricot Michelob Ultra Organic Seltzer. As real as it tastes.
Coming up on Weather Underground, special live coverage as we track Fred. Tropical storm watches and warnings posted for the Keys in southwest Florida as Fred batters parts of Cuba with heavy rain. Hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knapp breaks down the future track and strength of this system. Plus, regardless of what Fred does intensity-wise, sea wind, flooding, rain, and strong winds are likely in Florida as the system moves close to the west coast through the weekend.
We're also closely watching the threat of severe thunderstorms, including for the highly populated mid-Atlantic. We're going to have the latest on the timing and who's at risk. That's next on Weather Underground.
Glad you're with us here for Weather Underground. I'm Mike Bettis.
And I'm Jackie Jarris. Thanks so much for joining us on this Friday. It's Friday the 13th.
I know. Yikes.
I don't know if you think that's lucky or unlucky, but we've got a lot going on tonight. A severe thunderstorm warning just issued for the Washington, D.C. area, but also we've got some changes and updates in the tropics, Mike.
Indeed we do. Dr. Knapp's going to break down everything out there, Fred. We've got TD7 out there. And so we take a look at what's going on, Jackie. We've got watches and warnings out there that does include South Florida.
Yeah, we do. And we've got 2 cones, actually, right, that include parts of Florida, too. So tropical storm watches and warnings are up along the Gulf Coast of Florida. Tropical storm warning is for the Florida Keys. It does include you in Key West as well as into Key Largo. And then the watch stretches north of there along the southwest coast of Florida to just north of Fort Myers. So, of course, the big question is, how much stronger can Fred actually get when it gets into the Gulf of Mexico, where the waters are a little bit warmer? Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp, joining us with the latest. And Dr. Knapp, you know, we've seen this little shift now a little farther off towards the west. Could it get stronger the farther west it goes?
Yeah, it could, but it might delay the beginning of the strengthening a little bit, but then maybe late in the game over the Gulf of Mexico before making final landfall, it would have more time over those warm waters. What has happened today is that the low-level center has come inland over Cuba, and because it's sheared and over land, that weaker circulation has gone with the low-level flow farther west. Compared to the previous track. And so it's spending more time over Cuba than originally anticipated. Now, it's moving west at 12 miles an hour. It should eventually resume that west-northwest motion toward the Gulf of Mexico. But that has changed the track and intensity forecast a bit. One thing that's done is it's shifted the overall track to the west because of the more westward initial motion. But there could be a lot of reorganization and so forth, so there's still a possibility of it going left of the cone, right of the cone, or within it. Also, the intensity forecast has come up to 60 miles an hour, approaching final landfall, because eventually it has more time over the Gulf of Mexico, even though the strengthening today and tonight might be more slow to come by. Now, here's the low-level center. Watch this one more time. You see the exposed low-level center coming ashore right there. So you got land interaction, plus you got a lot of wind shear in the atmosphere because we got upper-level low over Florida. That's producing the strong southwesterly to westerly winds. Also, that upper level low over Florida is destabilizing the atmosphere and producing a lot of thunderstorms over the peninsula today that aren't associated with Fred. But more rainy weather is coming for the peninsula this weekend. Now watch what happens in the models here. We get the Euro model having the center kind of disorganized but reorganizing kind of on the right side of the cone there, and then it gets better organized. That's a strengthening tropical storm, even though there's some wind shear in the atmosphere. The GFS model, however, shows the low-level center that's over Cuba now continuing to go west, but we kind of lose that eventually, and then the center reforms farther to the northeast, maybe on the right side of the cone, and then eventually gets its act together. So be ready for some changes to the track forecast. And this shift to the west of the track means it's possible that tropical storm watches won't be needed in Tampa. They might, but they might not, because the shift to the west has lessened the chances of tropical storm force on the west coast of the Florida Peninsula, but the chances for the Panhandle have gone up.
Okay, so Miami Beach, we know Dr. Nab not in the cone, but some heavy rain could come their way. Take a look at last night. We had some heavy rain with thunderstorms, and that filled the streets with water. That was rough, right? You just can't get around in that. Could this be a sign of things to come with Fred? Meteorologist Felicia Combs in Miami Beach for us tonight, a spot that's very used to tropical weather here. And knowing now that we're probably going to be on the far eastern side of it, I'm sure for a lot of people that gives them some sense of relief as far as the wind goes here, Felicia, but it's all going to be about the rain there in Miami.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we've seen that this has been a lopsided system, Dr. Nab. And you know, we quite frequently call the east side of these tropical systems, especially when they're lopsided, the dirty side of the storm. That's where you typically don't want to be, and that's right where we're going to find ourselves here in South Florida. Not just the heavy rain, but the wind is going to pick up. It's not going to be, you know, the tropical storm force winds like maybe in the lower Keys, but it is going to get pretty breezy here. And then also being in that right front quadrant, you've got that possibility for some isolated quick, weak spin-up tornadoes as well. So that's something that can't be ruled out either. Now, of course, Miami Beach is paradise. You can see all of the blowing palm trees behind me. In fact, the breeze that we have right now is pretty nice. It's about a steady 15-mile-per-hour breeze. That's going to continue to pick up as we head through the overnight. So, you know, it is going to get breezy, but the flooding rains, that's really one of the biggest issues. We spoke with a man earlier, a resident here, who was getting sandbags because his home floods regularly, even with just heavy afternoon thunderstorms.
Because I live in a flooding area, so I need to put the bags in front of my door and stuff like that, so I don't get flooded. If the flood it lasts a long time, then the wall filtrate the water and it comes inside. But if it's just minor, it helps.
And so here's part of the problem. The ground is saturated already. We got about an inch of rain officially recorded at the airport yesterday. And what happens is that water starts to collect and there's nowhere for it to go. So when you're talking about adding up several more inches, we could see, 5 to 7 inches throughout the entire weekend before it's all said and done. You're definitely running into some flooding issues here. And it is a weekend, Dr. Nab. So, the South Floridians, they know how to deal with it. That man obviously knows he's in a flood-prone area, but it's the weekend, and if you're here visiting, you might not know what you're getting into, being that we're outside of the cone, and you may think you're in the clear.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be a big wind event for Southeast Florida, but it could be a significant rain-induced flooding event depending upon where the bands on the east side of the storm set up. And not just the Florida Peninsula, but northern Florida. Most of the state of Florida is above average for the rainfall this year. In particular, the southeastern metro areas in Fort Lauderdale and Miami, even though West Palm is down a little bit. So we are having a wetter than usual wet season, and this is going to add to it, even though you're outside the cone. That phrase can be misinterpreted, misused, and spread misinformation around. You got to be sure to understand that this is just where the center of the circulation is likely to go. And as Felicia mentioned, you're going to be on the dirty side, the wet side, and the onshore flow side. So the weather isn't going to be great in Southeast Florida. Now, overnight tonight, isolated heavy downpours could cause some flooding, but it's really tomorrow that the rainfall problem starts. And look what's happening in Cuba today with a tropical depression combined with the daytime heating. It is coming down in buckets there, and that is a preview of what is going to happen over the Florida Peninsula. So, and the rain over Florida today is not Fred. That's the upper level low with the daytime heating destabilizing things. But when this whole mass of moisture moves northwestward, even if the center is out in here, you could have some flooding in the metro areas, even on the East Coast, tomorrow night into Sunday morning, and that will continue for South Florida and spread northward on Sunday. So it'll be probably a wet weekend. Let's look at some of the model depictions of the rainfall, and you see in the Euro how we have the center of circulation out here, but look at that moisture coming into the Keys in South Florida this time tomorrow. That could be pretty heavy rain. And even as the system moves up toward the panhandle, you could still be in a very moist southerly flow. So, Jackie, I don't want people to discount how much rain could fall, not just in the Florida Peninsula, but points north from there.
Yeah, so the deep south into the Carolinas, the Tennessee River Valley, you all need to be aware and alert that we've got kind of the 1-2 punch coming. We've got a cold front coming from the south. We've got the moisture coming in from Fred, and that's going to change scenes like this one, right? Oh, Atlanta, you look so good right now. Make sure you enjoy the dry times that we're experiencing here, because that's going to change starting tomorrow as the cold front gets a little bit closer and will likely last through Wednesday, maybe even into your Thursday as well. It's kind of a squeeze play overall. We'll have Fred coming in from the south. We'll have that trough coming in from the north. And all that moisture then is going to get focused and concentrated across a good portion of the south. Now, exactly where the worst of that is going to be, yet to be determined. But the potential is there for some really heavy downpours. And then you get terrain mixed in there in the southern Appalachians, and that could complicate the situation even further. So here's a look at where we could see some flash flooding Sunday into Monday. Keep in mind, we've had a lot of rain here as of late, so the ground is already fairly saturated and can't take on a ton of rainfall. We'll see repeated showers and thunderstorms widespread across the area on Monday, into your Tuesday, as well as into your Wednesday, and perhaps even lingering into your Thursday. Now, how much rain are we talking about? The potential is there for a handful of inches of rain somewhere within that region. Our models are not agreeing on the placement of where some of the worst of that could be. This is a look at the Euro model, and it really brings heavy rainfall across the southern Appalachians. That could be a big problem with flash flooding as well as mudslides. But we take a look at the GFS rather, and the GFS says maybe 3 inches at the most here. It will be more likely to see the heavy rain closer towards the coast of the Carolinas and Georgia. So we'll see as we fine tune some of these details. But we've got a long way to go with our tropical season. We're only, a couple of months into it, and we've got 87% of the season yet to go ahead of us. So after Fred, we already have another one waiting in the wings. Let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. And Dr. Rick Knabb, it was yesterday just an invest, and now we're talking a tropical depression.
Yeah, and this is another one of those tropical waves that left the west coast of Africa several days ago. We track each and every one of these, especially when you get into the middle to latter portion of August. More and more of them have potential to develop. So here's Fred. Here is a tropical wave that, at least up to this point, hasn't developed. There is the wave that has now become Tropical Depression 7. And here's another one about to leave the west coast of Africa that we'll have to watch very closely. So the wave train is very active. And here are the two waves that are affecting and will affect the Leeward Islands. The one here, most of its weather is off to the north, so that's good. And then we'll have a break during the day tomorrow. And then our depression, which is likely to strengthen into Tropical Storm Grace, will be quickly moving into the Leeward Islands. It became a tropical depression this afternoon because of the well-defined closed circulation now, and the thunderstorm activity right near the center really starting to blossom. And look at the upper levels. It had some easterly shear yesterday. Pretty nicely defined outflow on the west side, and even on the east side, the shear is not as much. So it's starting to breathe. Unfortunately, that means strengthening is likely. Moving quickly, west at 22 miles an hour. So for that reason, watches are already up. They went up earlier this morning, and for many of the islands in the leewards, and now the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico under a tropical storm watch. It's going to be tomorrow night into early Sunday when the tropical storm conditions are likely to arrive, and I hope it doesn't get stronger than the forecast here. That's at least a possibility. So this will be a more significant wind and water event for the northeastern Caribbean than pre-Fred and Fred were. Now, what about beyond that? It's possible that, like Fred, eventual Grace will go over Hispaniola, but that's not a guarantee. What if it goes north of Hispaniola? And how much shear in the atmosphere will there be beyond that time? Well, if we look at the Euro model, watch the colors with the low-level spin. There it is near Puerto Rico on Sunday. And then Monday, this goes north of Hispaniola. That could mean a stronger system approaching the southeast U.S. next week. Depends on how much wind shear, Mike.
Dr. Knapp, thanks for the update there. Let's take you to the I-95 corridor, right into D.C. Storms have come ripping through, and I think the storms are going to maybe slide just south of the capital area. It's 84 degrees right now. Temperatures have cooled off a good bit with the rain that's rolled in. Now, very active storms tonight throughout, the district here, but up into New York, as far south as Tennessee and beyond. So a lot of coverage of storms out there. Show you the storms that we have right now coming past Berg, right along the Beltway here in Alexandria. Look how those are sliding maybe just south of the district for us tonight, at least the worst of it. Still, though, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is Alexandria and Falls Church. It includes Charles, Fairfax, and PG counties here until 6:45 this evening. Storms over on Annapolis as well, and a run on PG counties here until 6:45. So please be careful there. We've got some pretty intense wind with those storms. Now, Baltimore, the big storms fizzled pretty quickly and have cleared you as soon as they got on the east side of town. But as we widen the picture out, you can see how many storms are out there right now over across the Buckeye State, across West Virginia, through Pennsylvania, up through New York tonight as well, coming past Binghamton at this point, and some storms that have been around the Capital District all afternoon long. And we have more chances for storms through the evening. This watch right here goes until 8 o'clock, does include Pennsylvania down through Maryland and Virginia. Both of these individual watches both extend until 11 o'clock this evening. Notice the stationary storms we have across the Tennessee Valley, storms in northern Alabama, up through middle Tennessee, storms along I-40 producing some heavy rain, storms through Memphis, maybe down around Tupelo as well, and I-55 flash flood warnings for us here. Now our warning goes until 6 o'clock this evening. It's Crittenden, it's DeSoto, and yes, it is Shelby County as well. That storm has been so slow this evening that we're producing heavy amounts of rain over the same spots over and over and over again. Storms gradually fizzle through the night tonight as the daytime heating subsides somewhat, but guess what? A lot of these storms could return again tomorrow, a little bit farther east. Jackie?
Well, coming up on Weather Underground, we continue to track Fred as it begins to approach Florida. Dr. Knapp is back with more in-depth analysis on its potential impacts and its potential future intensity.
As someone who resembles someone else, I appreciate that Liberty Mutual knows everyone's unique. That's why they customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. It's like a pancake.
Okay, don't roll it too thin. This is a perfect thickness.
Is that a tattoo?
Uh-huh. Look, isn't it cute?
Yeah. Is that real?
It is very real.
Yeah, no, it looks good.
I love it. Can I have one?
No.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
The video calling device designed to bring people closer. Share something real. Portal from Facebook.
Looked bigger online. Someday, we'll find the right trip.
Seize your someday today with Travelocity.
Get the right information so you can book confidently.
Travelocity. Seize your someday.
Allergies with nasal congestion overwhelming you? Breathe more freely with powerful Claritin D. Claritin D improves nasal airflow 2 times more than the leading allergy spray at hour 1. Claritin D. Get more airflow.
The Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max lets you vacuum and wash your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens area rugs.
And when you buy Bissell, you help save homeless pets.
To learn more, go to BissellCrosswave.com.
This month, protect your ride with great oil deals at Napa. Get a jug of Napa Full Synthetic for $18.99. Or get $10 back when you buy a jug of Mobil 1 for $27.99. When it comes to finding you great deals, our motor never quits.
Let's go, Peloton. Welcome to your 30-minute full body strength. Yes, you can, Peloton. Come on. Nice work, Lisa in Denver. Keep it up. Way to show up, Peloton. Amazing work. You absolutely crushed it.
I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now. Come on and move to the sound. And keep it going, and turn it up loud. I got a good feeling. Yeah.
Transitions, light under control.
Starting at the tip of my toes. Feel it in my head and my clothes.
Transition Signature Gen 8. Available now in 4 vibrant style colors. Transitions.
Oh, there you are. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churned and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? Coffee Mate truly is man's best friend. I didn't mean like you.
Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
Jade makes people do crazy things.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Years after Karen survived traumatic chemotherapy and surgery, her breast cancer returned.
I had one hope left, the clinical trial.
She read everything, called everywhere, until finally Pearl Mutter Cancer Center invited her into an immunotherapy trial.
It was a life changer.
2 years later, Karen's tumors are gone, and Pearl Mutter Cancer Center has more active clinical trials than ever.
You get knocked down and you're looking for hope, and here was hope.
Over 150,000 people with non-valvular AFib have left blood thinners behind with Watchman, a safe one-time procedure that reduces stroke risk and bleeding worry for life. Watchman, it's one time for a lifetime.
From the marker for everything comes the pen for everything else. Introducing the smooth, bold, and vibrant Sharpie S-Gel. Sharpie S-Gel, the power of Sharpie, now in a gel pen.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 92 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible early. Some clouds, low 78. Saturday, mixed clouds and sun with scattered thunderstorms. High 88. Chance of rain 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy, low 69. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
When it comes to covering the most important issue facing us and our Earth, one day does make all the difference. Now, the Weather Channel and its innovative climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. For what's now and what's next, rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
Welcome back. You're watching Weather Underground. We're keeping an eye on Southwest Florida, 85 degrees right now in Naples, Florida. Threatening skies throughout the afternoon and evening. A few folks out here on the pier. The water doesn't look, a few folks in the water, and water temperatures are pretty nice right now, so I understand. Pretty inviting to be out there. But as we go through the weekend, we have Tropical Depression Fred out there that anticipated to become Tropical Storm Fred and then threaten the Keys and maybe portions of Florida as well, with a little bit of wind, but more rain than anything else. Tropical Depression Fred has 35-mile-per-hour winds right now, moving west through Cuba. A lot of interaction with land here, so it really hasn't been well formed here the last 24 hours or so. But as it emerges off of Cuba, anticipated to re-strengthen here back into a tropical storm, missing the peninsula, at least the center of circulation, but we think a lot of rain will fall here through Florida. As far as the watches and warnings go, we've got tropical storm warnings in effect here. That does include down through the middle and upper Keys, portions of southwest Florida. But the watches extend all the way up past Fort Myers. All a matter of time here in essence. Eventually those two if deemed necessary, will become tropical storm warnings as well. Jackie?
Yeah, active weather across Florida through the weekend as well. Well, a changing planet can threaten our basic needs. Our mission with our Pattern Climate Unit is to explore, inform, and elevate people around the globe, doing their part to save and to protect the planet. And this week on the Weather Channel and Pattern, we present Building Solutions. This series looks at how Americans are finding innovative ways to move us into the future. Did you know that there are more than 4 million miles of roadway in the United States? Our chief environmental correspondent Dave Malkoff met up with companies turning asphalt into a power source.
Right now, most of the power in the United States comes from burning fossil fuels, but this highway could also create electricity. You see, the power is already here, burned into the hot blacktop, and cities are just starting down the long road of extracting that power.
We're near downtown LA. We got downtown LA in the background there.
The easiest way to save power is to keep the streets and surrounding cities from getting hot in the first place.
In cities around the world, there's a high concentration of asphalt and other materials that absorb heat.
Davis Coleus met us in Los Angeles, and he's talking about what's called an urban heat island. Hot blacktop cities sweltering people all summer long. Davis's company GuardTop has come up with an alternative. Lighter colored blacktop that reflects the sun's radiation. I've actually noticed that you can feel the difference in the temperature as you go from the white top to the blacktop.
Yeah, so we're reflecting about 35 to 40% of the UV rays of the sun.
This isn't just white paint that would peel off. It's actually embedded into the pavement, and it's almost 10 degrees cooler than the darker surface.
Heat equity is a big part of the discussion too, and a lot of the cities are looking at, neighborhoods that are more susceptible to heat.
You see, if cities make the roads cooler and neighborhoods shadier, people don't have to crank the AC. One of the kind of wild ideas is this solar panel that's embedded into the road. This could be the future of highway infrastructure and power infrastructure. Weather, no problem. Cars riding over it all the time, no problem.
I'm Brian Johnson. I am the city manager here at Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Brian runs the Curiosity Lab in Metro Atlanta, where companies can try out emerging technologies like the solar road that is powering a charging station on a mostly public part of a city street.
This city or any city could end up taking existing roadway, put in solar panels, and generate electricity to power all sorts of stuff.
This road is version 2.0 from a French company called Wattway, not to be confused with a Chinese company with a similar sounding name. They installed their first solar roadway in northwestern France about 5 years ago, and it was slammed in the French press for its lack of durability and lack of power output.
It may not be tomorrow where it's ready for that use, but it's certainly being tested in a real world on a real city street right now.
Here in much sunnier North Georgia, the second version seems to be holding up. But this is just one technology they're testing here. Very soon, your most connected device won't be your phone anymore. It'll be your car.
Every single street light can talk to each other, can talk to the traffic signal, can talk to pedestrian crossing, can talk to the vehicles. That is a lot of data.
So the roadway of the future could be a city cooler, a power plant, and a true information superhighway. The dream of the 90s is alive in Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Very interesting, isn't it? Well, still to come on Weather Underground. We're going to have much more on our top story, of course, tracking Fred. We're going to break down what Florida and the Southeast can expect in the days ahead. Plus, Dr. Nab is back to break down another threat developing right on the heels of Fred.
Today, let's paint with Behr Ultra Scuff Defense so that you can live that scuff-free life.
Honey, I'm home.
Honey! Scuff Defense.
Oh, I love our scuff-free life.
Behr Ultra Scuff Defense, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Oh, are you using Liberty Mutual's coverage customizer tool? So you only pay for what you need.
Sorry?
Limo, you're an animal!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Band practice, soccer, whatever that is, Nathan is working on. Nobody has time to cook, but the big dinner box from Pizza Hut is the answer. 2 pizzas, wings, breadsticks. It's the easy way to feed the whole family in one box.
No one outpieces the Hut.
My heart failure diagnosis changed my priorities. I want time for the people I love. My heart doesn't pump enough blood, so my doctor gave me Farxiga. It helps my heart do its job better. Farxiga helps keep me living life and out of the hospital for heart failure.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. Symptoms of a serious allergic reaction include rash, swelling, difficulty breathing or swallowing. Stop taking and seek medical help right away. Tell your doctor right away if you have red color in urine or pain while you urinate or a genital area infection, since a rare but serious genital infection may be life-threatening. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems or are on dialysis. Other serious side effects include dehydration, sudden kidney problems, genital yeast and bacterial infections in women and men, urinary tract infections, and low blood sugar. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
Work time with her? Sounds good to me.
Farxiga. If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Start your day with Crest 3D White. And from mochachinos to Merlot, your smile will always be brilliant. Crest 3D White Brilliance. 100% stain removal, 24-hour stain resistance to lock in your whitest smile. Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America.
She's eating the rocket.
Lunchables, built to be eaten.
Monday, payday, Tuesday, payday, Wednesday, payday, Thursday, payday, Friday, payday, Saturday, payday, Sunday, payday. Payday.
I love making brides feel beautiful. A lot of times when I'm doing weddings, it's 6 or 7 hours on my feet. I have a thyroid condition, and so I need medication so that I can have the energy to do what I love to do. Previously, I couldn't afford health insurance. And this year, I went on healthcare.gov and prices were great. Now, my monthly premium is $0. The process was easy. It took me minutes to apply and get approved. If I could do it, anybody could do it.
It's my 552 woke up like this migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for any time, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am. One dose can quickly stop my migraine in its tracks within 2 hours.
Unlike older medicines, Ubrelvy is a pill that directly blocks CGRP protein, believed to be a cause of migraine. Do not take with strong CYP3A4 inhibitors. Most common side effects were nausea and tiredness.
Ask about Ubrelvy, the anytime, anywhere migraine medicine.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel.
This is epic!
Trusted to be there where and when you need us. Trusted to work around the clock until every threat is over.
We're in this for the long haul.
Because America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
All right, check this out. Lightning and thunder with this storm today in Fort Myers, Florida. The storm not associated with Tropical Depression Fred, but some soaking rains and storms from another little disturbance across the Sunshine State right now. They clock some winds around 40 miles per hour. So, it kind of goes to show you that the storm doesn't have to be severe in order to be dangerous. Right, Mike?
100%. You can always have that lightning threat, and it's so unpredictable. You never know exactly where that lightning strike is going to be, so always best to be inside and away from the electronics.
Agreed. I'm more afraid of, I think, lightning than almost any other weather 100%. Thing for that reason, right? Yeah. All right, well, welcome back to Weather Underground, everybody. I'm Jackie Jarris. He's Mike Bettis, and we've got to introduce you to Fred, if you don't already know Fred. Fred is our tropical depression right now, working its way across Cuba, packing winds around 35 miles per hour. So Fred is going to be making an approach by tomorrow morning towards the Florida Keys. It could be a tropical storm by that time, so some slow intensification as it moves through the Florida Straits, but that intensification may get a little more robust as this moves into the Gulf of Mexico. And if you're just joining us, you may not know we've seen a little bit of a shift to the left on that forecast cone right now, which puts Alabama and maybe even into Mississippi into play with all of this. So that's what we're looking at right now with the nuts and bolts for Fred. But just because you're not in the cone any longer in the Florida Peninsula does not mean you won't have impacts, because you will. In Miami Beach, one of those places not in the cone, but set to get some heavy rain, which could even lead to some flash flooding. Our Weather Channel meteorologist Felicia Combs is live at Miami Beach right now. Of course, they're very used to preparing for tropical weather there, Felicia. Hey.
Hey, Jackie. Yeah, you know, the Friday has kind of been business as usual here in Miami Beach, with the exception of the people picking up their sandbags to prepare for any flooding. You know, I would be willing to bet that we are going to see images coming out of South Florida of flash flooding, especially across the Miami area with all the rain that we're expected to see tomorrow. Now, the one thing that I will say that Miami Beach, especially South Beach, has going for it, take a look behind me at kind of the setup of this beach. So you can see, obviously, the beach far off in the distance. It's been a very busy beach day. The lifeguard has been blowing his whistle right and left, but you'll notice all of the sand, quite a bit of sand. This is a pretty large beach, and then quite a bit of vegetation as well as you look farther through the beach, which all of that acts as a barrier from any sort of storm surge problems. Of course, we're not expecting that at all with this storm, just kind of rainfall flooding. But then, of course, even more than that, as we look behind me, you can see even more kind of park area before you get out to one of the main thoroughfares, which is Ocean Drive, which is just absolutely bustling with tourists and people here for the weekend. So the flooding issue is certainly something to keep in mind that are going to come from that rainfall. Now, we are going to have high tide tomorrow around the same time as we're getting some of those gusty winds. So you will see some rises in the ocean levels, but it's going to be raining so much at that time, Dr. Nab. I have a feeling the beaches are going to be much more, they should be anyways, much more empty than they have been today.
Yeah, absolutely, Felicia. I think the weather is not going to cooperate, even if the cone appears to be making it such that the weather is not going to be too bad. But what I want to show you is what future Grace is doing farther east than pre-Fred did. So here's Fred, and here's another tropical wave north of the Leeward Islands that's perking up a little bit. We'll have to watch it, not too concerned about it. But here's what has now become Tropical Depression 7. And you remember when pre-Fred was out in here, it wasn't this well organized. It didn't have this well-defined of a circulation center, didn't have the concentrated thunderstorms. So what that means for the Leeward Islands is that this is probably going to provide, unfortunately, a more potent wind and water event than Fred did, because it's likely going to strengthen to a tropical storm even to the east of the islands. And it's looking pretty healthy for a tropical depression. Certainly looks healthier than tropical depression Fred does right now. And so this is on the upswing, unfortunately. And look at the upper level pattern with the cirrus starting to fan out. The easterly shear has weakened compared to yesterday. So this is now a depression, and it's moving quickly westward, more than 20 miles an hour. And so we got the tropical storm watches up all the way through to Puerto Rico now. And here is the big question. Will this, like Fred did, go right over Hispaniola? That's possible, and that would lead to a lower end tropical storm after that, in all likelihood. But what if it goes just north of Hispaniola and the wind shear decreases in here? Jackie and Mike, we could have a stronger system on the doorstep of the U.S. next week than with Fred.
All right, Dr. Nab, no, you'll be on that. Thank you. And we know it's not just the Pacific Northwest dealing with heat, but also the Northeast right now. See where soaring temperatures have prompted excessive heat warnings. Just how dangerous that is for you and your kids.
Riders, the lone wolves of the Great Highway. All they need is a bike and a full tank of gas. Their only friend, the open road.
I have friends.
Well, he may have friends, but he rides alone.
That's Jeremy right there. We're literally riding together.
He gets touchy when you talk about his lack of friends.
Can you help me out here?
No matter why you ride, Progressive has you covered with protection starting at $79 a year.
Well, we need friends, to be fair. And still.
I wanna see you stand. I wanna feel you beat. I wanna hear you beating heart. Live out loud.
Today, let's paint with Behr Ultra Scuff Defense so that you can live that scuff-free life.
Honey, I'm home.
Honey! Scuff the fence.
Oh, I love our scuff-free life.
Behr Ultra Scuff Defense, exclusively at the Home Depot.
Band practice, soccer, whatever that is, Nathan is working on. Nobody has time to cook, but the big dinner box from Pizza Hut is the answer. 2 pizzas, wings, breadsticks. It's the easy way to feed the whole family in one box.
No one outpieces the Hut.
She's eating the rocket.
Lunchables, built to be eaten.
This is the sound of change from PNC Bank. It's the sound of low cash mode, giving you the options and extra time needed to help you avoid an overdraft fee. Low cash mode on Virtual Wallet from PNC Bank. One way we're making a difference.
Phil Swift here for Flex Paste, the incredible rubberized paste. Right out of the tub, it clings to the surface and it instantly fills gaps and holes. Flex Paste dries to a strong, flexible rubber, perfect for sealing RVs and campers. Use it to help prevent flood damage, stop rodents from getting in your home, or even crafts and hobbies. Get Flex Paste and the Flex Seal family of products at these fine retailers.
I'm a member of American Home Shield, which means this faucet may be freaking out, but I'm not.
Something's wrong with my AC. It's blowing pretty hard and it won't turn off. Luckily, I'm a member of American Home Shield. My plan helps cover the cost when parts of more than 20 home appliances and systems wear out. If they can't repair them, they'll replace them.
I've never felt so good.
For a free quote, go to ahs.com. That's ahs.com.
I was born 4th of July. Grew some wings and learned to fly. Got a wind on my back just like I like. I said simplify, simplify.
Ready to simplify life with diabetes? Get started today with a free 30-day Omnipod DASH trial. Go to omnipod.com/free for risk information, instructions for use, and free trial terms and conditions. Consult your healthcare provider before starting on Omnipod. Simplify diabetes. Simplify life. Omnipod.
Allergies with nasal congestion overwhelming you? Breathe more freely with powerful Claritin D. Claritin D improves nasal airflow 2 times more than the leading allergy spray at hour 1. Claritin D. Get more airflow.
All right, Philadelphia, how you doing? You hanging in there? It's been a long, hot day. You're still 94 degrees. Feels like 100 degrees, but hey, you've dropped a degree in the last hour. At least you have that going for you. Your feels like temperature, though, really hasn't changed much. An excessive heat warning remains in effect here until 8 o'clock tonight, but there is relief around the corner. I think today is our last extreme day in terms of the heat. We'll still be pretty hot tomorrow, but come Sunday, we'll get a little bit better behind that cold front. You'll have to pay the piper, though, with some storms in between the two. Here's a look at the temperatures across the region right now. Wilmington's at 90. You've got Trenton up there at 93 degrees. The feels like temperatures are about 3 to 6 degrees warmer than what it says on the thermometer. So you know your humidity is up there. It's certainly high. Higher the farther south you go, though, too, as we take a look at Raleigh, feeling like 104 degrees right now. A few spots in here, especially in D.C. and Richmond. You've cooled down now thanks to thunderstorms, but you know that that's going to be temporary. As we head into tomorrow, we're still going to be in the 90s. I think we'll have the opportunity to reach at least the lower 90s before the storms arrive and cool you back down once again. But behind that front, more than anything, you're really going to notice the drop in the humidity. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s, I think, probably sound a lot better. We also have a lot of heat across parts of the West, though, Mike.
I believe we do. It has been downright toasty across the Pacific Northwest. That's a live look at Seattle. It's just a smidge under 90 degrees for us right now. Really, really warm. I know summer is such a great time to enjoy in Seattle because usually the temperatures are so comfortable. You don't have to deal with the oppressive heat, but it has just been one heat wave after another here in the Pacific Northwest, and we're doing it again, right? Again, take a look at some of the numbers here. It's 89 in Seattle. Temperatures, you know, when you go farther out toward the water, it's a lot cooler here, but 90s And 80s and 90s very prevalent for us right now. And we're going to go into the hundreds going into the weekend as well. 96 right now in Boise. In Portland, we're sitting at 94. And in Medford, we're sitting at 97 degrees right now. Now, I mentioned we're going into the hundreds. Yakima, 105 degrees for us tomorrow. I mean, wow. The record is 102. Salt Lake will do 98. In Spokane, we'll do triple digits. Same for us in Salem. And very similar numbers as we go into Sunday as well. 102 in Yakima. We'll do 97 in Spokane. But look at Redding now. 112 degrees. And in Glasgow, Montana, how about that? 102 degrees for us. So do everything you can to protect yourself from this heat. Find some air conditioning if you can. And we know that the heat comes with, unfortunately, sometimes some very dire consequences. We know the temperature is too extreme this week for children. In fact, 4 have died in the last week in hot cars. The latest incident happening Tuesday when a 2-year-old climbed into a vehicle and could not get out. And we see this happen from time to time. A lot of times, children are left in a hot car by an adult, but sometimes they can, get curious and play, and they sneak into the car themselves, and sometimes we just don't know. 14 deaths attributed to child vehicular heat fatalities this year. 105 was the warmest temperature in one of those incidents, but look at this. 70 was the coldest, and for a lot of us, we feel like that number is a really comfortable temperature, right? It just goes to show you how hot your enclosed vehicle can get when the sun is out and it's all locked up and you're not in it, right? And as I was alluding to, a lot of times it's, the caregiver leaving the child in a car and usually strapped in the car seat, they can't get out, right? But 26% is a child going into the vehicle, and so this is why it's so important to get everyone out of the vehicle, then lock the vehicle right afterwards, whether it's in, the yard, whether it's in the driveway, whether it might be in, it might be in the garage even. It can get very, very hot in the garage as well. And maybe find a way to teach your child to alert you if they get stuck in the car. I taught my kid when he was young, really, really young, 2.5, 3 years old, to honk the horn if he couldn't get out. We practiced this over and over again, and eventually he learned. We never had an issue, thank goodness. But take a look at our scorching car scale. A place like, Raleigh, 94 degrees for us tomorrow. After 10 minutes, it'll be 113 degrees inside an enclosed vehicle. And after 30 minutes, it'll be 128 degrees. What we know, Jackie, is 30 minutes, maybe all it takes, maybe less for an infant, for an animal. Always make sure you're checking that back seat and then locking the car afterwards.
Such a short amount of time for sure. Well, that heat adding to the wildfire danger across parts of the West. Take a look at this. Earlier this week, wildlife biologists found that little guy right there clinging to a tree in the smoky remains of the Antelope Creek fire. This orphan cub was taken in and checked for injuries, and it did include 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his paws and to his nose. But get this, the date that the little cub was discovered is the exact same date that the U.S. Fire Service kicked off their Smokey the Bear campaign back in 1944. And the real-life Smokey the Bear was also an orphan cub found clinging to the top of a charred tree. So thankfully that little guy was able to get rescued, and he's going to be A-OK. You got to think about all the impacts of these wildfires. There's so many of them, some direct, some indirect, and it's been a bad season already. California alone, the number of acres that have burned this year, almost 1 million. That's up about triple compared to the number of acres that we had last year. Now, if we take a look at the total number of fires, 2021 versus 2020, it's a little bit closer. So what that tells you is we've had a lot of bigger fires, a lot more acres getting burned here. They continue to fire up across parts of the West. The monsoon season has certainly helped across the Four Corners. That's a little bit of good news, but really no relief or help across much of the West where that heat continues to build. We also have some gusty conditions here, so red flag warnings are in effect.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
It's Buick Envision.
That's a really tight spot. I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
The all-new Buick Envision, built around you, all of you. Pay no interest for 72 months, plus current eligible Buick owners get $500 purchase allowance on 2021 Buick SUV models.
Forecast, plenty of sunshine through today with seasonal.
Rush hour will never feel the same.
Experience thrilling performance from our entire line of vehicles at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
Get ready to mark it off and step it up. Walmart makes getting it all easier.
Oh, hello. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churn and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? How do I know so much about Coffee Mate? I've had a cup or 200. Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
This month, protect your ride with great oil deals at Napa. Get a jug of Napa Full Synthetic for $18.99. Or get $10 back when you buy a jug of Mobil 1 for $27.99. When it comes to finding you great deals, our motor never quits.
That's a joke.
Do not repeat that to anyone, right?
You're gonna fight.
Do not repeat that to anyone.
The video calling device designed to bring people closer. Share something real. Portal from Facebook.
With lower prices and great deals, make Target your first stop back to school.
Hi! For the best pre-owned selection in Brooklyn, visit Plaza Auto Mall. Credit that comes easy and prices that can't be beat. All makes and models starting at only $8,000. Used car leasing is here. Plus, no money down options available. Shop online at plazaautomall.com.
You one-stop block when you auto shop.
Those beautiful Bush's baked beans. The delicious center of picnic table gravity that keeps the whole great barbecue universe spinning. Bush's makes the cookout beautiful.
The Ergo Smart Base from Tempur-Pedic responds to snoring automatically. So no hiding under your pillow or opting for the couch. Your best sleep, all night, every night. Experience the mattress ranked #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power 2 years in a row.
If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with no deductible. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now.
Innovative Climate Team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. Rely on the climate experts with the most trusted name in TV news. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 90 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible early. Some clouds, low 78. Saturday, mixed clouds and sun with scattered thunderstorms. High 88. Chance of rain 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy, low 69. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
It probably comes as no surprise that a meteorologist has a rain gauge, right? I have one right here in my front yard. In the last 24 hours, I picked up about ½ an inch of rain or so. Now, it was 2 days ago I picked up a ½ inch of rain, and 2 days before that I picked up another ½ inch of rain. And that's important. 1 inch of rain is exactly what my yard needs weekly, and that is actually going to save me water, believe it or not. But typically during the hot summer months, I would run my sprinkler system 3 days a week, maybe 15, 20 minutes a piece. But because I've had a good amount of rain, I'm actually just going to turn my sprinkler system completely off. All those sprinkler heads running for, okay, let's say 20 minutes a piece 3 times a week. I mean, literally water running nonstop for an hour in your yard. That is a huge water savings there.
Yeah, I've also
made it a priority to lessen the watering of the yard, getting that smart sprinkler system. But 1 day less a week or shortening all of the watering duration, it saves dozens of gallons of water and money.
It's a lot. I have not watered my lawn in 2 weeks, but, we've had a lot of rain. So
well, you better hope you don't get to the final round, Jackie. The lawn might be screaming, please.
It could be. But, Dr. Knapp, so I wanted to ask you, I saw that you did a lot in terms of trying to cut meat out a little bit this last week. Did you seriously make soup in the middle of August?
Yeah, I did. Well, I like it hot, so eating hot food in the summer doesn't bother me. My wife likes the AC, so I get cold inside. So
makes sense now. See, he likes that South Florida heat and humidity,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's look at the brackets, shall we? You are up against Knapp, Mike, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one because, I went big last week. I feel like Knapp has paced himself, and so I might be in trouble this week. We'll see how it works out.
Right? You can't do it all at once, right?
I know.
Good luck.
And you up against Chris Warren.
Yes.
I think you guys have done so many cool, little, small, different things that are making a difference.
He's very handy, so he's been able to do things like fixing his leaks and that kind of stuff, and a lot of outdoor things. I've been focusing more on indoor things, laundry in particular this week, trying to air out my exercise clothes instead of washing them every day, right? And then, when you get home from work, you know how you put on clothes for like 5 minutes, and then the next thing you know, you're in pajamas in your bed. So I'm re-wearing those clothes almost every day because I'm, only wearing them for like an hour. It's not like they're
going
really
right to
dirty.
jammies,
or just straight to jammies. I like that too.
Yeah, I'm doing 0 laundry this week. I don't know how long that can last if I advance.
We shall see.
Ab's going to be buying new clothes the rest of the tournament.
Right? So, some of these water tips are obvious, I think, and then some of them are less obvious, especially when we talk about indirect water usage. And gasoline is one of those that really can use a lot of indirect water. So driving less, using less gas can turn into saving water because it takes nearly a gallon of water to extract, refine, and transport the gas that it takes you to drive just 1 mile. So reducing trips, combining trips. I know that's sometimes hard to do in a busy life, but knock it all out in one day.
It all makes a difference, doesn't it? And hopefully you at home are learning a little bit and playing along with our Waste No Water Challenge. Let's bring Dr. Knapp back in, talk tropics tonight with Fred and potential Grace out there. Dr. Knapp, a lot to consider.
Yeah, we have future Grace that's going to follow a similar path than Fred. We'll talk details about that later on, but it might turn out differently than Fred. Could end up being stronger as it approaches the U.S. next week. But Fred still has a chance to re-strengthen and probably will over the Gulf of Mexico. Even though the center is over land right now, it will eventually reorganize, we think, over the eastern Gulf of Mexico and have the weekend to perhaps become a strong tropical storm. Now, let's take a look at the watches and the warnings. They haven't changed since this morning, but I'm not 100% sure that they're going to extend the watches northward, at least not later tonight. They might, but they might not. Because that shift to the west of the track, it's possible that the tropical storm force probabilities will be low enough in a place like Tampa that you won't have to have a watch later tonight. So, but that could change. This track could shift either way because there's a lot of possibilities with where the center could organize. So I think there's a greater than average chance that the center ends up outside that cone. But the probabilities in Tampa have gone down this afternoon as compared to this morning, but they've gone up in the panhandle. So just got to watch the trends. Also, so important for all of you in the entire Florida Peninsula, just because your wind probabilities might have gone down a little bit, especially on the East Coast, doesn't mean you can't get heavy rainfall. And look at how much rain could end up in the Appalachians or on the coastline of North and South Carolina. But South Florida, you're not out of the woods for heavy rain either. So it does not take a tropical storm going right over you to bring some water impacts. But again, it will get into the Gulf of Mexico. How strong could it get? We'll track it all weekend long.
When you order carry-out, choose Domino's Carside Delivery. Check in when you arrive, and we guarantee we'll be headed out the door less than 2 minutes after your order is ready. If anything slows us down, your next pizza is free. Choose Domino's Carside Delivery and put our new 2-minute guarantee to the test.
Return to rugged. The all-new, ruggedly redesigned 2022 Nissan Pathfinder.
Here's my new dress. What's that? Oh, Damprid.
Damprid? Yeah, Damprid. Gets rid of musty odors.
How? Well, Damprid attracts and traps excess moisture,
Eliminating the source of musty odors.
mustiness, gone.
Damprid.
It looked bigger online. Someday, we'll find the right trip.
Seize your Sunday today with Travelocity.
Get the right information so you can book confidently.
Does anyone snore? I brought my earplugs just in case. Travelocity. Seize your Sunday.
The Bissell Crosswave Cordless Max lets you vacuum and wash your floors at the same time. Dry messes, wet messes. It even freshens area rugs.
And when you buy Bissell, you help save homeless pets.
To learn more, go to BissellCrosswave.com.
Like many people with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, I was there.
Be right back.
But my symptoms were keeping me from where I needed to be. So I talked to my doctor and learned Humira is the #1 prescribed biologic for people with UC or Crohn's disease. And Humira helps people achieve remission that can last, so you can experience few or no symptoms.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Be there for you and them. Ask your gastroenterologist about Humira. With Humira, remission is possible.
This month, protect your ride with great oil deals at Napa. Get a jug of Napa Full Synthetic for $18.99. Or get $10 back when you buy a jug of Mobil 1 for $27.99. When it comes to finding you great deals, our motor never quits.
1, 2, 3. Only pay for what you need with customized car insurance from Liberty Mutual. Nothing rhymes with Liberty Mutual.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
You founded your kayak company because you love the ocean, not spreadsheets. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
Coming up this hour of Weather Underground, special live coverage as we track Fred. Tropical storm watches and warnings have been posted for the Keys in southwest Florida as Fred batters parts of Cuba with some very heavy rain. Our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knapp, breaks down the future track and strength of Fred. Plus, regardless of what it does intensity-wise, sea wind, flooding, rains, and strong winds are likely in Florida as the system gets closer to the west coast through the weekend.
And we're also closely watching the threat of severe thunderstorms, including for the highly populated mid-Atlantic states. We'll have the timing, who's at risk. That's all next on Weather Underground.
So glad you could stay with us tonight. You're watching Weather Underground. I'm Mike Bettis.
And I'm Jackie Jarris. It's Friday the 13th.
A little spooky.
A little spooky.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of things out there that we got to keep our eye on. Of course, breaking news with the latest advisory in the last hour from the National Hurricane Center that now our PTC, or potential tropical cyclone, is now a tropical depression.
Yeah, that's potentially going to become Grace, and Dr. Knapp is going to break down all these things coming up, but there's Fred first, and up first really is Florida, and then maybe the northern Gulf Coast.
Yeah, so tropical storm watches and warnings have been posted along parts of the Florida Keys, as well as up the southwestern part of the peninsula. That's where the tropical storm warning is. It includes Key Largo, as well as Key West, and then the watches stretching northward just outside of Port Charlotte. So the big question remains is how much stronger could Fred get as it moves into the warmer waters of the Florida Straits and then the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, our hurricane expert, as always, with us here, Dr. Rick Knapp. Joining us with the latest, Dr. Rick Knapp, we've had some changes today.
Yeah, we have. And to answer that big question, how much stronger could Fred get? Now, eventually, it could become a pretty strong tropical storm before making final landfall in the northern Gulf of Mexico. But between here and there, especially in the next day or two, it might struggle to get going again because the center has gone inland over Cuba and spent a lot more time there today than originally thought, moving west at 12 miles an hour. And so that is really keeping the structure from reorganizing. It's keeping the max winds down. In fact, they might not even be as strong as 35 miles an hour. I'm going to slow down the visible imagery today, and you can see that open swirl at the beginning of the loop go inland over Cuba. I'll run that one more time. There it is. Look at that swirl. That's the center of circulation coming inland and moving westward over central Cuba. Now, there might be some spin trying to organize farther to the north and east, so it's going to have trouble deciding where to focus itself as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico. But one thing's for sure is the depression combined with the daytime heating has produced a lot of heavy downpours in Cuba, and that's a precursor to what could happen over Florida. Now, the thunderstorms over Florida today are not from Fred. They're from an upper level low, destabilizing the atmosphere, heating of the day there. But that upper level low is also shearing Fred, so that's keeping its organization kind of disheveled. But watch what happens in the models. The colors show the low level spin. I'm going to show the GFS first. And what you'll see is that spin over Cuba moves westward, but then a new area of spin forms over the Keys. And look how disorganized the circulation could be at low levels this time tomorrow. But then eventually it kind of gets its act back together a little bit and strengthens over the northeastern Gulf of Mexico before we're coming ashore Monday and Tuesday, but then falls apart more quickly over land. Now, so that means, things could happen both inside and outside of the cone here, but eventually it could strengthen to something close to that 60 miles an hour. And then it's not just going to be a coastal event. It could be bringing some moisture inland. Jackie will talk about that in a little bit. But also, I don't want people on the Florida Peninsula to think, oh, good, I'm outside the cone. I have absolutely nothing to worry about. That is not true. Yes, your wind speed probabilities for tropical storm conditions have gone down. Even on the west coast of Florida, they've gone down a bit, but they've gone up over the Florida panhandle region. And for that reason, the tropical storm watches, I don't know for sure if they're going to be extended northward for Tampa. But we'll talk about how the flood risk could be on the increase tomorrow, even if you're outside the cone, Mike.
As Dr. Nab, we've had plenty of rain in South Florida of late. Take a look at what happened last night. We had torrential downpours, streets filled up with water. Cars had a hard time navigating through that water, and this may be what we see if Fred gives us a glancing blow. It still could produce some pretty heavy rain. Let's check in with meteorologist Felicia Combs. She's in Miami Beach tonight. Typically a really nice place to be, but this time of year, we always have to watch the tropics in South Florida.
Yeah, definitely. It's this time of year, especially when you're heading through the peak of hurricane season. But I'm going to tell you, today, once the rain stops, it has been a perfect day in South Florida. Now, has it been very humid? Are the dew points in the upper 70s? Can you feel the moisture in the air? Yes, you can. But I want to show you what is kind of indicative of the type of weather that we've been having here in South Beach. All of those kite surfers that you see off in the distance, that is really indicative of a good steady breeze. You have to have a nice breeze to get those kites up, to get them going, because those are really big kites. So a really good indication of the type of steady breeze that we've had on shore. About a steady 10 to 15 mile per hour wind today. It's been mostly dry throughout the afternoon, and it's going to stay that way. But, it hasn't been all fun and games. People are soaking up the fun in the sun today because changes are coming tomorrow. We actually spoke with a woman with Parks and Rec earlier, and she was saying, come get your sandbags if you need them because tomorrow could have some flooding rains.
Probably rain, high winds, gusty winds. Hopefully that's it. Basically, we're trying to get probably about 2,000 bags. So there people could come out. It's free sand, free to the public. Come on out and get your sand.
Yeah, so come on out. You want to make sure you're getting prepared because starting tonight, those conditions will slowly begin to deteriorate and then peaking during your Saturday afternoon. So it's beautiful, paradise. People are enjoying today, but I can't stress enough. Tomorrow is going to be a much different picture here, Dr. Nab, even though we're outside of the cone.
Yep, and that is so important to emphasize. The cone only shows where the center of the circulation of the tropical system is probably going to go. But Florida will be on the wet side. And overnight tonight, on the northern periphery. There could be some locally heavy downpours and isolated flooding, but the bulk of the moisture is down over Cuba. And when you see how much rain has been falling in Cuba today, that's a preview of what could happen over Florida with a tropical depression or storm moving to your west and add the heating of the day tomorrow and Sunday. It could really come down. Now, the storms over Florida today are not Fred. That's the daytime heating along with this upper level low destabilizing the atmosphere. But the bulk of the moisture is down to the south. And with this track, you take all this moisture and you put it here, and it's not going to confine itself to the cone. And that right-hand side will be more moisture loaded. So tomorrow night, into Sunday morning, even the East Coast metro areas at risk for some localized flash flooding. Not everybody's going to get it. Some of you might think, oh, this is no different than a rainy summer afternoon. But some of you could get more rain than you'd like, and there could be some problems on the roads. That could continue into Sunday and Sunday night, and it will expand northward. Now let's look at some of the modeling here, because there are differences. The European model has something a little bit stronger and going farther to the west, so it does confine the heaviest rains to the southwestern coast of Florida, but still a couple inches for the southeast coast. But look at the GFS, bringing the heavier rain much closer to Miami and more rain in the east part of central Florida, in addition to moving it up into the Panhandle area. But look at the GFS. Even though it's a relatively disorganized system tomorrow, there's a lot of moisture coming in from the southeast. So that combined with the daytime heating could bring a lot of heavy rain into southern Florida. Even all the way into Sunday, you're still going to be in that southeasterly flow. But then it's interesting how the GFS, with a generally weaker system, doesn't bring as much rainfall into the Appalachians, and it focuses it in the Carolinas, whereas the Euro, Jackie, is a little more concerning for places farther inland because it's got a stronger system coming into the Panhandle, and look at all that moisture coming through Georgia and Alabama up into the Appalachians. So a lot of uncertainties with regard to what moisture Fred will bring in. We'll talk about TD7 in a little bit.
All right, let's get to some of these inland impacts, right? So the wind impact's not likely to be a big issue other than individual thunderstorms that could bring some gusty winds. It's going to be the rain, and that's going to be a big issue in a place likely like Atlanta. Atlanta, you look so good right now. Look how gorgeous you are. I hope you enjoyed today the drier conditions for the most part that have moved in, because things are going to be changing by tomorrow, and that's going to be continued to stay unsettled really through most of the rest of next week, Wednesday or Thursday at least. So it's kind of the squeeze plate, I think, overall. We've got that moisture coming in from Fred, and then we've got a system from the north, a cold front that's going to be dropping in. So all that moisture is going to kind of get concentrated across much of the deep south, and that could bring some really heavy rain across the region. Dr. Knabb was talking about how the model's not quite agreeing on the placement of all of that, but the opportunity is there and certainly widespread across the region. So Sunday into Monday, we could get some flash flooding in all of these spots. So this is a huge area, and we know the ground already is very saturated. So this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Wednesday. You get the idea. Pretty much everybody across that region has the potential for heavy rain and flash flooding. So we'll see where the placement of that heavy rain is. But if you do live in the southern Appalachians in particular, just a big heads up, we could be talking about even mudslides if this forecast comes true. All right, that's the latest right now on Fred. But we've got another storm to watch right now. Yesterday, we called it Invest 95L, and now we're calling it Tropical Depression number 7. We've got a lot of the Atlantic hurricane season ahead of us. In fact, 87% of it. So let's bring in our hurricane expert, Dr. Rick Knabb, yet again. And Dr. Knabb, it's interesting because Florida no longer in the cone anymore for Fred, although they'll get the big impacts, but now parts of Florida in the cone for TD7.
Yeah, we could have yet another system on the doorstep of the southeastern U.S. next week. And don't assume that it's going to play out exactly like Fred, even though it's generally following a similar path. We got fast-moving tropical depression number 7 moving west at 22 miles an hour. Here are the Windward and Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. This will be closing in quick on you, and it could be tomorrow night into very early Sunday when you could have tropical storm conditions moving through. That's why the watches are up. 45 to 50 mile an hour intensity. It's possible it could be stronger than that. The intensity forecasts have uncertainty even at 1 to 2 days out. This could be organizing more quickly over warm waters with the weakened shear. So get ready for the possibility of a strong tropical storm. And then it could go right over Hispaniola if that exact track is right. But anything on the right side of the cone, and maybe something on the extreme left side of the cone or outside of it, could miss Hispaniola. And that would change the game completely in terms of the intensity forecast down the road. The 40 to 45 mile an hour intensity in the Hurricane Center's forecast for next Tuesday and Wednesday is largely dependent upon that track being right, going right over Hispaniola. So let's look at the modeling here, because we got upper level high pressure here. That's giving it weak wind shear. But you have upper level low pressure here. How much wind shear could that, along with the high pressure aloft over the Southwest Atlantic, how much wind shear could there be after it tangles or not with Hispaniola? Let's take a look first at the Euro model, and you'll see the colors, the low-level spin going near Puerto Rico on Sunday. And then it has it missing Hispaniola to the north. And then you have upper-level high pressure in this area. Does it get underneath that area of high pressure to an area of weak wind shear, or is there some northeasterly shear that keeps the intensity down as it approaches the southeast U.S.? It could end up being stronger than what you see here on next Wednesday. Now, the GFS is a lot different on the latest run. It gets it to Puerto Rico, but then it starts to kind of fall apart. And it also goes very close to Hispaniola, and that changes everything for what comes toward Florida. So, Mike, I really want people to not take that first intensity forecast from the Hurricane Center to the bank. It could end up being stronger as it approaches the U.S. next week. Stay tuned.
We will, and indeed, Dr. Knapp, thank you. Storms along the I-95 corridor. We've had some pretty good storms that have come through D.C. We hit 96 today at National, 99, a new record at Dulles. We've dropped 20 degrees since then. Temperatures in the upper 70s right now. A little bit of light rain still remains, but the big storms, they're gone. At least they pushed east of you and a few storms south of you as well. So to show you what's going on the radar, we've got widespread storms across the mid-Atlantic, the northeast. We've got storms in the Ohio Valley, the southeast. I mean, they're pretty much everywhere at this point. But just light rain is indicated by the green on the map tonight. But let's widen that out. You can see where the storms went down toward Fredericksburg and Warsaw, Lexington Park. Yeah, we've got numerous warnings that extend all the way over into Delaware as well. Some storms converging on Pittsburgh right now, and severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for us here. It does include, by the way, Allegheny, Washington County now. So those storms have moved right now into Pittsburgh, and you do have a severe thunderstorm warning. Look at the storms that are ripping through Cleveland as well. Not severe thunderstorm warned, but all kinds of heavy rain and some lightning with those storms. We've had severe thunderstorm warnings over around the Capital District in Albany as well. Albany County under a severe thunderstorm warning here in New York. Again, big picture, you can see we've got a lot of storms just about everywhere you look, and even wider than that then, all the way down through the deep south we have the storms. Now, a lot of these storms not meeting severe criteria. However, they've been very, very slow to move. Very stationary storms here, and you can see a lot of green polygons on this map. It's just northern Alabama, down along 55 in Mississippi. Flash flooding now an ongoing concern because we've had so much rain and it just has not budged, right? So take a look at the future, high-resolution radar. Still some more storms here around the lakes tonight. Still some more storms across the Mid-South as well. Some of these storms begin to fizzle a bit through the night as we lose some of the instability, but some of these storms could refire tomorrow, especially right along the East Coast, and then more scattered storms across the Southeast as well. So we're just going to do it all again tomorrow, Jackie. The one place that'll begin to clear out will be the Midwest finally as the front starts to push its way east. We need to dry out there.
We do, and we're finally going to cool down in the Northeast too by Sunday. Well, coming up on Weather Underground, we continue to track Fred as it begins to approach Florida. Dr. Knapp is back with more in-depth analysis on its potential impacts and future intensity. Plus, the latest from the Pacific Northwest as sweltering under more records.
A lot of snacks are packed with air, but not Planters nuts. Our dry roasted peanuts have an incredible ratio of size to substance. A delicious, salty, crunchy ratio. Planters, a nut above.
You want to make pizza night with the family even better? Bam! Get yourself the new Parmesan crusted papadilla. It's like a golden, crispy little fireworks show in your mouth. Get a new Parmesan crusted papadilla for only $7. Papa John's.
Get ready to set them up with everything they need. Everything. Got this.
got a good feeling. Feel it in my bones, gotta shake it out. I'm going harder than before, let me hear you shout. Oh no, I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now.
Transitions, light under control.
I got it, you got it. I want it, you want it. When I want it, you got it. When you want it, I got it, yeah. When they want it, ain't want it, we got it, yeah.
So then I said to him, you ought to customize your car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so you only pay for what you need. Hot dog or chicken? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Oh, hello. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churn and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? How do I know so much about Coffee Mate? I've had a cup or 200. Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
Let's go, Peloton! Welcome to your 30-minute full body strength. Yes, you can, Peloton. Come on. Nice work, Lisa and Denver. Keep it up. Way to show up, Peloton. Amazing work. You absolutely crushed it.
With quality that's guaranteed for life, Bathfitter doesn't just fit your bath. It fits your high standards. Why have over 2 million people welcomed Bathfitter into their homes? It just fits. Call now or visit bathfitter.com to book your free consultation.
How do you think they make Starburst taste so juicy?
Starburst? Juice-Stradic equation. Super top secret mathematical formula they keep stored inside a safe, inside a vault, inside a volcano.
Oh, Juice-Stradics.
Starburst, unexplainably juicy.
It's a fact. No other news network out there is trusted more than the Weather Channel. And America doesn't trust hurricane season to just anyone.
Attention Medicare recipients. The Inogen One Portable Oxygen Concentrator may now be available at little or no cost to you. Call 800-877-2200 to order yours today. Inogen oxygen concentrators are portable and make oxygen from the air around you. They're light, quiet, and battery operated to go everywhere you go. And we have a full line of portable oxygen units to fit a wide range of budgets. If you're on Medicare, you may even qualify to get your Inogen unit at little or no cost to you. Go back to joining friends for the breakfast special, make spending time with the grandkids easier, or start attending your religious services again. Call Inogen now for a free information kit and a free no-obligation consultation on our complete line of affordable portable oxygen products. And anyone on Medicare or with eligible insurance plans may qualify to get an Inogen One at little or no cost. Call 800-877-2200. That's 800-877-2200.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 89 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible early. Partly cloudy skies, low 78. Saturday, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms, high 88. Chance of rain, 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy, low 68. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Evacuate immediately.
Tonight here on Weather Underground, we're keeping a close watch on Florida because we have Tropical Depression Fred out there with 35-mile-per-hour winds over Cuba and headed towards southwest Florida. A lot of folks out on the pier tonight. And the waters turn a little more turquoise this evening, but the skies are still gray, and they could be very gray right through your weekend. And it's all because of Tropical Depression Fred, which may strengthen and become a tropical storm. So where does it sit right now? It's a little unorganized and sitting over Cuba at the moment. Movement west at about 12 miles per hour, and it is expected to come back into the Gulf of Mexico, get into a little bit more favorable area of strengthening here, and then work its way past Florida, at least past the peninsula of Florida, toward the Panhandle, potentially toward the north Gulf Coast here. Could be Alabama, could be Mississippi as well. Could strengthen as much as to a 60 mile per hour storm with this forecast. That would be its peak, coming right in a landfall somewhere again in maybe North Florida there over into Alabama and Mississippi. Tropical storm warnings and watches in effect here. The Keys up through southwest Florida here. The ultimate thing to know here, Jackie, is little gusty winds, not terrible, but rain more than anything else would be the issue this weekend.
Yeah, in all those areas that aren't even in the cone, right? Keep that in mind. Well, a changing planet can threaten our basic needs. Our mission with our Pattern Climate Unit is to explore, inform, and elevate people around the globe doing their part to save and protect the planet. Now, this week on the Weather Channel and Pattern, we present Building Solutions. This series looks at how Americans are finding innovative ways to move us into the future. Did you know there are more than 4 million miles of roadway in the United States? Our chief environmental correspondent Dave Malkoff met up with companies turning asphalt into a power source.
Right now, most of the power in the United States comes from burning fossil fuels, but this highway could also create electricity. You see, the power is already here, burned into the hot blacktop, and cities are just starting down the long road of extracting that power.
We're near downtown LA. We got downtown LA in the background there.
The easiest way to save power is to keep the streets and surrounding cities from getting hot in the first place.
In cities around the world, there's a high concentration of asphalt and other materials that absorb heat.
Davis Coley has met us in Los Angeles, and he's talking about what's called an urban heat island. Hot blacktop cities sweltering people all summer long. Davis's company GuardTop has come up with an alternative. Lighter colored blacktop that reflects the sun's radiation. I've actually noticed that you can feel the difference in the temperature as you go from the white top to the blacktop.
Yeah, so we're reflecting about 35 to 40% of the UV rays of the sun.
This isn't just white paint that would peel off. It's actually embedded into the pavement, and it's almost 10 degrees cooler than the darker surface.
Heat equity is a big part of the discussion too, and a lot of the cities are looking at, neighborhoods that are more susceptible to heat.
You see, if cities make the roads cooler and neighborhoods shadier, people don't have to crank the AC. One of the kind of wild ideas is this solar panel that's embedded into the road. This could be the future of highway infrastructure and power infrastructure. Weather, no problem. Cars riding over it all the time, no problem.
I'm Brian Johnson. I am the city manager here at Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
Brian runs the Curiosity Lab in Metro Atlanta, where companies can try out emerging technologies like the Solar Road that is powering a charging station on a mostly public part of a city street.
This city or any city could end up taking existing roadway, put in solar panels, and generate electricity to power all sorts of stuff.
This road is version 2.0 from a French company called Wattway, not to be confused with the Chinese company with a similar sounding name. They installed their first solar roadway in northwestern France about 5 years ago, and it was slammed in the French press for its lack of durability and lack of power output.
It may not be tomorrow where it's ready for that use, but it's certainly being tested in a real world on a real city street right now.
Here in much sunnier North Georgia, the second version seems to be holding up. But this is just one technology they're testing here. Very soon, your most connected device won't be your phone anymore. It'll be your car.
Every single street light can talk to each other, can talk to the traffic signal, can talk to pedestrian crossing, can talk to the vehicles. That is a lot of data.
So the roadway of the future could be a city cooler, a power plant, and a true information superhighway. The dream of the 90s is alive in Peachtree Corners, Georgia.
neat. Well, still to come on Weather Underground. Much more on our top story, Tracking Fred. We're going to break down what Florida and the Southeast can expect in the days ahead. Don't go away.
When you order carry-out, choose Domino's Carside Delivery. Check in when you arrive, and we guarantee we'll be headed out the door less than 2 minutes after your order is ready. If anything slows us down, your next pizza is free. Put Domino's new 2-minute guarantee to the test.
Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara gives you the look of professional lash extensions. Our award-winning formula dramatically lengthens and strengthens lashes with all-day staying power. It's no surprise it has over 1 million 5-star reviews. Join our movement today at thrivecosmetics.com.
My heart failure diagnosis changed my priorities. I want time for the people I love. My heart doesn't pump enough blood, so my doctor gave me Farxiga. It helps my heart do its job better. Farxiga helps keep me living life and out of the hospital for heart failure.
Do not take if allergic to Farxiga. Symptoms of a serious allergic reaction include rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing. Stop taking and seek medical help right away. Tell your doctor right away if you have red color in urine, or pain while you urinate, or a genital area infection, since a rare but serious genital infection may be life-threatening. Do not take Farxiga if you have severe kidney problems or are on dialysis. Other serious side effects include dehydration, sudden kidney problems, genital yeast and bacterial infections in women and men, urinary tract infections, and low blood sugar. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of ketoacidosis, which is serious and may lead to death.
Work time with her? Sounds good to me.
If you can't afford your medication, AstraZeneca may be able to help.
Oh, there you are. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churned and 2 times richer than milk for 1 perfect cup of coffee? Coffee Mate truly is man's best friend. I didn't mean like you. Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
It's the biggest sale of the year on the new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed. It's the most comfortable, dually adjustable, foot warming, temperature balancing, proven quality night's sleep we've ever made. Save 50% on the new Sleep Number 360 limited edition Smart Bed, plus 0% interest for 36 months. Ends Monday.
Showing appreciation with a perfect promotional item is a meaningful gesture that can be touched, held, and enjoyed. 4imprint can help your logo create moments that matter. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
Verizon launched the first 5G network, and now we want to be the first to give everyone the joy of 5G by giving every customer a new 5G phone. Old customers, new customers, families, businesses, every customer. From these bakers to these bakers. Hello. New 5G phones when you trade in your old ones. Cracked, busted, sticky buttons and all, thank you. Upgrade your phone, upgrade your network.
It looked bigger online. Someday, we'll find the right trip.
Seize your Sunday today with Travelocity.
Get the right information so you can book confidently.
Does anyone snore? I brought my earplugs just in case. Travelocity. Seize your Sunday.
Can't believe that Daniel deal you got me on my insurance.
Daniel, State Farm offers surprisingly great rates to everyone.
Sure you do. You want to meet the Queen?
I'm not dressed for that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
This is J Country. Our goal is to find that $1 million boulder. I will dig till my hands bleed.
That's so sketchy, dude.
Anything can shut you down.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Bolts of lightning in the skies over Daytona Beach, and despite that, people didn't get off the beach in some cases. If you do hear thunder, you always want to head inside. Pack up those things. Always have an escape route. You know, it doesn't take a warning for weather to be dangerous. Now, we've also learned today that a 16-year-old girl suffered life-threatening injuries after she was struck by lightning at a beach in St. Petersburg, Florida, yesterday. A 60-year-old man was also injured due to his proximity to the strike. We've got 7 deaths now attributed to lightning in 2021. The latest of those was also just yesterday. today in the Bronx on a beach there. Unfortunately, a 13-year-old boy lost his life. So always remember, when thunder roars, to go indoors. If you see a flash, make a dash to go inside.
Yeah, truly words to live by for sure. Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Weather Underground alongside Jackie Jarris. I'm Mike Bettis. Plenty to cover here. We're going to talk about the heat coming up and how dangerous it could get across the Pacific Northwest. But front and center is Fred.
Yeah, Fred, a tropical depression expected to become a tropical storm. And we've had a little shift in the cone today. And while most of the Florida Peninsula is not in the cone, they will see some big time impacts in the form, especially of heavy rain, which could lead to some flash flooding. Our Weather Channel meteorologist Felicia Combs is live at Miami Beach, a spot very used to preparing for tropical weather. And Felicia, you could get some really heavy rain that's not really needed tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely not needed and always problematic for a place like Miami or Miami Beach. And the type of rain that we're going to get tomorrow is going to add up very quickly. So let me give you a little bit of a explainer of where we are. So Miami Beach is separate from the city of Miami. It's actually a barrier island. And if you look behind me here, you're looking at the southernmost point. You're looking at the southern pier down there, but also what you're seeing is a cruise ship going out. Now, sometimes the cruise ships are leaving port to ride out the storm somewhere safer where they're not going to be impacted. Sometimes they are actually going out now that we're starting to see the cruise ships going. I think there are people on that ship, but I'm not going to definitively say that. But as you can see, it's kind of business as usual today here on Miami Beach. That's going to change tomorrow. By tonight, we're going to start to have more waves of rain moving in. And then by tomorrow, particularly Saturday afternoon, even though we're outside of the cone, we are going to be on the dirty side of this storm, or the east side of the storm. We're going to be stuck under the heavy rain. And, you know, a lot of the people who are here for vacation things like cruises and like just spending time on the beach, maybe have never been through storms, Dr. Nab. So, you know, I do think it's an important point to hammer home that no, we're not under any sort of tropical warnings here in Miami, and we're not in the cone, but we're still going to feel those tropical type of impacts tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's also important, Felicia, for people going on cruises or headed to the Caribbean, that we have another system on our doorstep, perhaps next week, approaching the southeast U.S. That is this depression number 7, and this is likely to become Tropical Storm Grace, and it's moving toward the Leeward Islands, kind of following in Fred's footsteps, but developing and strengthening sooner and farther east than did Fred, moving west at 22 miles an hour. So it's closing in quick. And we will have time to get NOAA hurricane hunters into the system tomorrow. They've forward deployed to the Eastern Caribbean. We'll get additional data before it gets to the islands, where there's a tropical storm watch in effect that now includes the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. And this is likely to go to a warning here later tonight, because we're getting in to be less than a day and a half before those impacts. This could be very late tomorrow night, getting to the Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands Sunday morning, and then maybe daytime on Sunday. The winds of tropical storm force expected to arrive in Puerto Rico, and I hope that it's not stronger than the 45 to 50 miles an hour in the latest Hurricane Center forecast, but that is possible. Warmer waters, weak wind shear makes that a possibility. And also, can't take it to the bank that it is going to go right over Hispaniola like Fred did. So it could end up being stronger than the 40 to 45 miles an hour after Hispaniola as we look into next week. You have upper level high pressure here, low pressure here. How much wind shear will there be in the atmosphere after it passes Hispaniola? Let's take a look at the Euro model and fast forward it until we get to next Monday, when the Euro has north of Hispaniola. Here's the upper high, here's the upper low. How much wind shear will it encounter, or will it get underneath that upper level high? But in any case, it's possible, Mike and Jackie, that something stronger than Fred could be on the doorstep of the southeast U.S. about a week from now.
That should be concerning, knowing that's coming so close to Fred. Thank you, Dr. Nab. Coming up, the Pacific Northwest blazing right now. Dangerous heat, where temperatures are soaring. Excessive heat warnings, what you can do to protect you and your kids.
Oh, that's brutal. Using the Buick massaging. Yeah, that's nice. Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on? Sure, it's wireless. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? It's Buick Envision. That's a really tight spot. I used to hate parallel parking. Me too.
The all-new Buick Envision, built around you, all of you. Pay no interest for 72 months, plus current eligible Buick owners get $500 purchase allowance on 2021 Buick SUV models.
When you order carry-out, choose Domino's Carside Delivery. Check in when you arrive, and we guarantee we'll be headed out the door less than 2 minutes after your order is ready. If anything slows us down, your next pizza is free. Choose Domino's Carside Delivery and put our new 2-minute guarantee to the test.
Oh no. Man, I think they look good, man.
Smooth. They are a little tight.
Like, too tight? Might just need to break them in a little bit because you don't want them too loose.
For those who were born to ride, there's Progressive.
True.
With 24/7 roadside assistance.
Okay. Think I'm gonna wear these home.
Excellent choice.
I was born on the 4th of July. Grew some wings and learned to fly. Got a wind on my back just like I like. I said simplify, simplify.
Ready to simplify life with diabetes? Omnipod Dash users pay on average under $50 a month through a pharmacy. Get started with a free 30-day trial. Go to omnipod.com/free for risk information, instructions for use, and free trial terms and conditions. Consult your healthcare provider before starting on Omnipod. Simplify diabetes. Simplify life. Omnipod.
Sam. Welcome to the back of your mind. This is where we learn how to eat with Noom. Noom. Noom's all about eating wisdom. Limitless eating wisdom. Cool.
Sign up for Noom and lose the weight for good.
Honey latte.
What's the Wi-Fi password?
Oh, it's Hack Me.
It's easy to be unsafe.
Mom, what's your 401k number?
Now it's easy to help protect yourself. Opt in to cyber safety at Norton.com.
I got a good feeling. Feel it in my bones, gotta shake it out. I'm going harder than before, let me hear you shout. Oh no, I'm the talk of the town. I know you're feeling it now.
Transitions, light under control.
We're Thrive Cosmetics. We create high-performance, cruelty-free, 100% vegan formulas. And we love that you love our products, like our award-winning Liquid Lash Extensions Mascara. Plus, with every product you purchase, we donate to help a woman thrive. Join our movement today at thrivecosmetics.com.
Finding a Bigfoot is really hard, but finding the perfect products to wow your customers or celebrate your team? Easy. Just go to 4imprint.com. For promotional products people use and love, 4imprint, for certain.
Hefty has helped convert over 1,300 tons of hard-to-recycle plastics into valuable resources. And to pull your weight, all you have to do is choose Hefty. Sorry, I wasn't talking to you.
The Weather Channel and its climate team at Pattern are connecting you every day to the most fascinating stories impacting our planet. If it's out there, it's in here. The Weather Channel.
Welcome back to Weather Underground, everybody. You're looking live at Philadelphia. You're probably inside your air-conditioned building trying to stay cool. You hit 95 today, Philadelphia. You're now at 91, feeling like 98, still under an excessive heat warning. The heat has been brutal here. It's been day after day. The good news is I think we're peaking out right now, and we're going to watch temperatures go down a little tomorrow and then a lot as we head towards your Sunday. So make your outdoor plans right now for what you're going to do on Sunday. In the meantime, we still got 90s across the region, 89 though for you in Trenton. It's really more about the temperature your body feels when you combine the heat and the humidity impacts together. And we're still pushing 98 in Philadelphia, 94 in Trenton. There's been a little relief with thunderstorms in a few spots, places like Washington, D.C. dropping down into the 80s, and Richmond at 75. But look at Raleigh, still feeling like 102 degrees. So a cold front slowly but surely is approaching the area. So tomorrow we're still talking lower 90s, but by Sunday, 70s and 80s. That's going to feel a lot better. In the meantime, we've got heat across parts of the West too, Mike.
It's extreme here. Also, Jackie, we take a live look at Seattle. A little bit of haze in the sky at the Needle, right? Ah, such a neat sight, though. It's 90 degrees right now. Now, I would say this. A lot of times when we get our big heat in the Pacific Northwest, it tends to be a little bit drier air. So if you take a look at the feels like temperature or the heat index, it's actually colder than the ambient air temperature. But we want you to do what you can here to protect yourself from the heat. I know a lot of us do not have air conditioning here across the Northwest. It seems like over, years and years and years, we haven't really needed it, but it seems like the need is more and more these days. Look at some of the numbers here. Snoqualmie Pass, impressive. 84 degrees for us right now. Bellingham, we're at 85 just this week. We hit our first 100 in city history, if that tells you anything about the heat that we've seen. And we've seen a couple of different heat waves so far this summer, unfortunately, across the Northwest. Portland, we're sitting at 95, 98 in Medford right now. The governor has declared a state of emergency in Oregon because of the heat. Cooling centers are open. Free water is available. Boise, almost 100. In Missoula, we're sitting at 96 right now. Now, look at the numbers as we go into the weekend. 105 in Yakima. That'll set a new daily record for us tomorrow. Salt Lake will be approaching 100. We'll do 100 in Salem, close to a record for you as well. And we certainly know that temperatures don't need to be 100 degrees necessarily to be deadly. And this past week, unfortunately, 4 children have died after being left in hot vehicles or climbing into hot vehicles. The latest incident happening on Tuesday when a 2-year-old climbed to a vehicle and he could not get out. 14 deaths then attributed to kids in hot cars. The hottest outside temperature is 105, but get this, the coldest temperature was 70, which I know feels very comfortable to a lot of us. But when the windows are up in a car, it's locked, and it's just baking in maybe a parking lot or something like that, it can get unsurvivably hot inside. More than 50% of children that die in hot cars are left there by a caregiver, typically unintentionally. But a child playing in an unattended car accounts for 26%. And that, unfortunately, did occur this week. So always important to remember to, if you're not going to be in your car, you got home, you parked it in the driveway, you're going into the house, everyone's out. But then maybe the kid snuck back out, went back into the car to play around. I mean, cars can be fun. They can play with the steering wheels, the mirrors, all kinds of stuff, right? What we taught our kid to do when he was real little, about 3 years old, was to if he was going to end up in the car for whatever reason, he couldn't get out because they're not strong enough to open the doors, honk the horn. He was getting too hot, he couldn't get out, just honk the horn, and then mom and dad would be alerted. You could go out and get him. So maybe just a little tip that would help you. But if you can, lock the car if it's in the driveway or if it's in the in the garage so that no one can get in. Neighbor kids can get in. They may not know the same tricks that your kid may know. Boston, tomorrow at 92 degrees, but with our scorching car scale, we can estimate the temperature after 10 minutes. That'll be 111, and then after half an hour, 126 degrees. That is a really hot car. Boston is going to be hot anyway, so please be careful with the kids, with the pets tomorrow. New York, Chicago, again, temperatures really, really warm, even after just 30 minutes, Jackie, which, time flies these days. You kind of lose track of, if you're going into the store, whatever it may be, never leave any animal or kid in the car. Take them with you.
Great advice. Well, earlier this week, wildlife biologists found this little guy clinging to a tree in the smoky remains of the Antelope Creek fire. This orphan cub was taken in and checked for injuries, which did include 2nd and 3rd degree burns to his paws and his nose, poor thing. But get this, the date that the little cub was discovered is the exact same date that the U.S. Fire Service kicked off their Smokey the Bear campaign back in 1944. Why does it matter? Because the real-life Smokey Bear was also an orphan cub that was found clinging to the top of a charred tree. Is that coincidence or is it fate that they found this little guy on that date? Glad to hear that it's going to be okay. Now, the heat, of course, contributing to drying out all that vegetation, which also contributes then to the wildfires, which are still really raging across much of the West. We've had a monsoon season this year so far, and so we've had improvements across the Four Corners, but not so much across the West Coast. There's been so much smoke. Mike just showed you that hazy picture from Seattle. So many of us have been dealing with that, but on top of that, we've had a lot of lightning strikes, and sometimes we get these dry thunderstorms where you get the lightning strikes, which can start new fires, but not a lot of precip that comes out of the thunderstorm. It evaporates before it reaches the ground. So we are watching some new fires which have ignited today, and take a look at that. That may very well be a lightning sparked fire into Northern California.
Before treating your chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more, you're not the only one with questions about Botox. Botox prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine before they even start, with about 10 minutes of treatment once every 3 months. So ask your doctor if Botox is right for you and if a sample is available.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
In a survey, 92% of current users said they wish they talked to their doctor and started Botox sooner. Plus, right now, you may pay $0 for Botox. Ask your doctor about Botox today.
As someone who resembles someone else, I appreciate that Liberty Mutual knows everyone's unique. That's why they customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Oh yeah, that's the spot. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Still looking for that money in your home, Daryl?
Yeah, this puppy should finally do the trick.
Well, good luck. We found ours yesterday.
Let me guess, in the attic.
With Rocket Mortgage. We used our home's equity and turned it into cash.
Equity?
Yeah, you can do it on your phone.
Check your phone before you wreck your home, Daryl.
That's easy.
When you want to find money in your home, Rocket can.
Oh, that's all good, Daryl. I got a guy.
Rocket.
Oh, there you are. Did you know that Coffee Mate is triple churned and 2 times richer than milk for one perfect cup of coffee? Coffee Mate truly is man's best friend. I didn't mean like you.
Coffee Mate. Coffee's perfect mate.
Downey's been taking you back since way back, with freshness and softness you never forget. Feel the difference with Downey.
At Spectrum Business, we're so sure we offer the best value for business, we called our competitors to see if they could beat our 200 megabit internet and phone with no added phone taxes, no fees, and no contracts.
Thanks for calling.
These are their actual responses.
I would 100% go with Spectrum.
It really doesn't make too much sense to go with us.
Hear that? Spectrum Business is hard to beat. With 200 megabit internet and advanced phone for $69.98 per month, all with no added phone taxes and fees.
How are they pulling a no fees and taxes? That's madness.
If you guys want to avoid being under a contract, Spectrum's really the way to go.
I'm going to be very honest with you. You're probably going to need to go with them.
Honestly, we couldn't say it better. Get 200 megabit internet and advanced phone for $69.98 per month with over 99.9% network reliability. Call 833-919-2113. That's 833-919-2113.
Here, they say if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute.
I love to watch the waves after a storm. The storm can be long gone, but the waves just keep going.
Get into the out there. The Weather Channel.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 88 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, a stray shower or thunderstorm is possible early. Partly cloudy skies, low 78. Saturday, variable clouds with scattered thunderstorms, high 88. Chance of rain, 60%. Saturday night, partly cloudy, low 68. Winds north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We have brand new intermediate public advisories from the National Hurricane Center on both Tropical Depression Fred and Tropical Depression number 7. Let's start with Fred. Still a depression with max winds of 35 miles an hour. It's still moving west at 12 miles an hour over central Cuba. So it's still tangling with land, still has a lot of wind shear associated with it. And there are no changes to the watches and warnings on this advisory. Usually on intermediate public advisories, we don't see changes to U.S. watches and warnings. They could be extended farther north later tonight, or maybe not if the track continues to be far enough offshore that we don't have as much of a wind risk on the Florida Peninsula, although I expect watches and warnings will eventually be needed for the Big Bend and Panhandle area. But I want to urge everybody in the Florida Peninsula to realize that all of you are at risk for isolated tornadoes tomorrow and for rain-induced flooding. And it's probably going to be a stronger tropical storm after it finally leaves Cuba and the wind shear maybe decreases a little bit and it's able to reorganize. Now let's go to tropical depression number 7. This is the intermediate advisory, still a depression, winds at 35 miles an hour, moving west at 22 miles an hour, moving very quickly. So this is going to change things in the northeastern Caribbean very quickly. Tomorrow night into very early Sunday is when winds of tropical storm force could start arriving. So we haven't updated the graphic yet, but this area, all of these Leeward Islands, Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba and St. Eustatius, and St. Martin and St. Bart's, all of these tropical storm watch areas are now tropical storm warnings. And we still have a watch for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. That will likely go to tropical storm warning later tonight, if not very early tomorrow. Because again, the timing is in the Leeward Islands that are now under warnings, the winds of tropical storm force could arrive starting very late tomorrow night. And then in the Virgin Islands Sunday morning, and then Puerto Rico could be daytime Sunday. And then what about after that? Well, it could go directly over Hispaniola, but it could miss to the north, like, for example, the Euro model is showing, and that could mean a stronger storm than what is indicated here. Now, let's play this out a little bit in the models, okay? So here's Fred, and watch what it does when we get to Sunday. Okay, now it's in the northeastern Gulf of Mexico. But at the same time, here comes what's probably going to be Tropical Storm Grace near or over Puerto Rico. And then on Monday, we could have, if the Euro's right, a landfalling tropical storm in the Florida Panhandle and a tropical storm maybe north of Hispaniola at the same time. So if we back this up to the cone, so if you're thinking maybe Monday for the landfall of Fred, but Monday, it's possible that what's going to be Grace likely could be north of Hispaniola, and that's only 1-2 days and change away from possibly affecting South Florida. So could we have a landfalling storm in the Panhandle and watches up for South Florida on Monday? Mike and Jackie, we're going to be busy this weekend. So if you're in the Florida Peninsula, you got to monitor Fred and deal with the rain-induced flood risk, but also you could have updates and changes in watches and warnings eventually coming for Grace next week.
It probably comes as no surprise that a meteorologist has a rain gauge, right? I have one right here in my front yard. In the last 24 hours, I picked up about ½ an inch of rain or so. Now, it was 2 days ago I picked up a ¼ inch of rain, and 2 days before that I picked up another ¼ inch of rain. And that's important. 1 inch of rain is exactly what my yard needs weekly, and that is actually going to save me water, believe it or not. Typically during the hot summer months, I would run my sprinkler system 3 days a week, maybe 15-20 minutes a piece. But because I've had a good amount of rain, I'm actually just going to turn my sprinkler system completely off. Save myself an hour's worth and I don't know how many gallons worth of water. So I felt like that was a really great one. We just need to keep the rain coming. It can be inconsistent, I know, but maybe we got lucky the last couple of weeks.
You know what's exciting about this, Mike and Jackie, is that saving a lot of water also can save you a lot of cash. So there's multiple motivations here.
So this is all good for our planet and for the water. The only problem with this strategy, Michael, is you're going up against NAB, and all of us don't have to water our lawns this week because we're all getting rain.
I know, right? I did really well last week, and NAB did too, but I'm hoping like I didn't overshoot, and NAB is going to be very consistent here. So we'll see how it plays out. The results we'll reveal them Sunday and Monday on the Weather Channel.
All right, real quick, did you know that gasoline is an indirect use of water? Driving less uses less less gas, which turns into water savings because nearly a gallon of water to extract, refine, and transport gas saves you driving just 1 mile. So every little bit helps, everybody.
It does.
Did you know that your clothes can actually attract pet hair? With Bounce Pet Hair and Lint Guard, your clothes can repel pet hair. Look how the shirt on the left attracts pet hair like a magnet. Pet hair is no match for Bounce. With Bounce, you can love your pets and lint roll less.
When you get back out there, however you get back out there, go green. Because everybody's green when you ride with Uber Green. Yep, even you guys.
The fact that this Reese's ad showed up at this exact moment proves that your devices are listening to your stomach.
When you order carry-out, choose Domino's Carside Delivery. Check in when you arrive, and we guarantee we'll be headed out the door less than 2 minutes after your order is ready. If anything slows us down, your next pizza is free. Put Domino's new 2-minute guarantee to the test.
It's my 310, no exit in sight, migraine medicine. It's Ubrelvy for anytime, anywhere migraine strikes without worrying if it's too late or where I am.